everyone, and welcome back to episode 13 of Another Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Like a Gamer, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Doomwaves. Chance, what's going on, Chance?
Not a whole lot. Just busy.
Busy, isn't that for everybody?
Usually.
Yeah. And I'm joined by another co-host. You might have heard of him, Dustin Christ. I know he's a small YouTuber, but, I mean, he's on this podcast. What's going on, Dustin?
Well, I was just thinking about how we're at number 13, and this is going to be a bad omen.
Oh, no. And if I'm correct, now, isn't this, even though it's the 13th episode, this is the official year mark, right? June? Or July was when we started?
I think this is the official year mark. No. I think August was when it first went up.
August. Okay, so we're still behind from the year mark. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do something special, but today's episode is going to be pretty special because we're going over our favorite games of all time. We each picked 10 games that we're going to go over and just put as our favorite games of all time, but that'll be later in the podcast. So this episode is pretty special. But yeah, what's going on, you guys? The past month, a few things have happened since we've been gone, eh?
Eh?
My fellow Canadian brethren.
This is our Canadian episode.
I figured since we had a lot of Canadians, I need to throw a little Canadian in there, here and there, so they don't feel left out.
And yes, Steven, before we get started in this, the official year mark is August 14th.
August 14th, 2 days after my birthday, okay. So that is the official year mark, so we're getting close.
Couple months yet.
That means we knocked out like more than one episode sometimes in a month.
Yeah, we did a couple. I think it was every 3 weeks for a while there.
That's insanity. No way. But like I said, big news since we've been gone past month. I mean, we had a scare of a company we thought was going out of business. We thought a company was putting itself out of business. And yeah, so Xbox One doing some backpedaling since we last spoke. I wonder what led to this, you guys. What led to Xbox wanting to not do this?
All of us bitching and complaining. That's what led to it.
Now, I think one of the big things was, I know, Chance, you said you were eventually going to get one when it got cheaper. I think we all eventually would have got one when it got cheaper. But did this change anyone's stance on, like, well, I mean, maybe I'll get it a year earlier than what I planned on getting it, or does it affect you guys at all? Do you really care?
No.
Actually, for me, yes, but I don't know. There is still tons and tons of stuff for both systems that is got a lot of potential and it looks pretty good. And I'm looking at the probability of a Halo 5 and games like Titanfall and Doom 4 possibility and Wolfenstein New Order. So for me, it's like, okay, for the multiplat systems or multiplat games plus Halo and Titanfall, I might be in the Xbox One field. Now, the clincher will be if they drop the price, which I don't think they will, just because it comes with a Kinect, no matter what.
Yeah.
So there probably won't be a huge price drop. Maybe hopefully, I'm hoping for $100, but that's wishful thinking.
It'll come later rather than sooner, but it will come eventually.
So who knows what I'll end up with first?
I think by the time I pick one up, a few price drops will happen, and it'll probably be the Xbox One Slim by that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you see the interesting thing about that though? The CEO guy that everyone makes fun of because he's like a robot,
Yeah.
He quit Microsoft and is now going to Zynga.
I couldn't believe it. Because I know people say he's like a robot, but I kind of liked him, during all the press conferences and stuff. But I thought it was strange that he left to go to a company. Well, weren't they in some trouble this past year, 2 years? Yeah, like Facebook games and stuff. I think they specialize in. And I thought they were in trouble for some stuff. So I don't know why he would want to go there.
Well, it makes me wonder though. Did he have that in the cards before E3, or was it like the shit went down at E3 and people held him responsible, and he's like, "I'm getting out of this boat."
I think it might have been a little bit of both. I think he probably saw the way that people were responding, were like, I don't want to be associated with this anymore, and jumped ship. Yeah. But there was a huge rumor about him going to EA, because he is such a big name that when the EA president or whoever that was who got fired or stepped down, he was going to go take that spot, and it would have been a perfect role for him. So seeing him go to like a Zynga was just really weird. Seems like he took a big step down rather than up, which is what you should be doing. But oh well.
Oh well.
But I know as far as me, I'm kind of like you, Dustin. It's not a big deal for me. I know I work myself for the PS4 now. I'm not going to want to get an Xbox One, even though I know they did a pricing layout for everything, and technically it will be cheaper once you get everything for the PlayStation 4. But I don't care. Still having $100 cheaper. No one wants a iToy camera anyway, so who cares about that?
I think the other. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say another cool thing that totally came out of left field. I didn't think Microsoft would do would be region free. That really shocked me. Seeing as they don't do any Japanese support anyway. So
yeah, well, think about all the bullet hell shooters that run the 360. I mean,
True.
A lot of those are region locked, but that makes Nintendo like the stodgy old man on the. You know what I mean? Because both the 3DS and the Wii U are region locked.
And there are there's those petitions going around, and so far it doesn't look like they're working. Nintendo's holding strong, but man, it'd be so awesome if is there a way to make something like unlock the region for something if you already own it? Like, is that a hardware or software thing?
That's a hardware thing, but there might be like for the Wii until they did a firmware update on it. There was a software like workaround. And then they released a firmware update that basically wiped that out. So, but more often than not, it's a hardware thing.
Yeah, I believe Iwata came out and said after those petitions had started that there's a reason they do it, so they're not going to be changing anything here anytime soon. So it'd be wishful thinking, but all the good stuff's coming over here hopefully anyway. They keep teasing me with X, so it better be coming over here. They don't just show us trailers for something coming over in Japan. That's all I'm worried about. But yeah, other than with the Xbox One announcement, we had a little scare with Atlas. I don't know, Dustin, if you want to tell us kind of what the story with that is, because you got an update on that here today recently or something.
Yeah, basically the parent company of Atlas, which I can't remember what their name is, did a very bad thing, and they were inflating their numbers illegally. And I don't know if they just got caught doing it or if the bottom fell out or something. But it turns out the parent company of Atlas had to file for bankruptcy. So, of course, this sent the YouTube and internet, fanboys into like a craze, like, oh no, because it is Atlas is one of those companies that it really does feel like they're in our corner, with their box set. Everything gets a box set and really nice and all that stuff. And to lose a company like that would just be devastating. And I mean, justifiably, everyone was really worried because like Shin Megami Tensei is a huge series,
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out that the parent company filed for Japan's bankruptcy court, but it's called like economic rehabilitation, and they were approved for that. So I don't think Atlas is going anywhere. I mean, they just announced that Persona 5 is coming out, so I don't really see Atlas disappearing anytime soon. So that is a good thing.
Well, and a lot of people misunderstood it too, thinking that it was actually Atlas that was actually filing bankruptcy. But it has actually nothing to do with Atlas. It's just the company that pays them, basically.
Right.
The one that owns them, that fronts the money or whatever, that did the bad shit. So it's Atlas in and of itself wasn't actually ever in trouble, because even if this company had lost Atlas, they would have got bought by somebody.
Yeah.
And and continue to make games. So,
but the whole thing of it, though, it was kind of exciting in a way as well to see, because like none of these big companies would let Atlas just disappear. Like Sony or Nintendo would they would bend over backwards to snatch up Atlas, because it's just not so much the games that they put out, but just the fan base behind Atlas is so strong.
They make money.
Yeah,
they make money. They don't lose money on games. So.
And I mean, it'd just be a huge feather in their cap just to have Atlas as a first party.
They are the working designs of this generation.
Well,
where's working designs now? Didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying the quality of games, not necessarily
right.
business practice and stuff like that. I'm just saying the quality of games.
Actually, Steven,
go ahead.
Working Designs is actually kind of still around.
They are? Okay.
You bought one of their games.
I bought 2 of their games actually.
Oh, well, 2 of their games. Yeah,
Gun
I
Griffin
think.
Blaze, like the other part of that little thing. But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, what are they called? Gaijin Works. Yeah,
They're like the
Gaijin or
old.
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gaijin Works. Yeah. So they're slowly getting their mojo back.
Well, the whole thing is like I keep hearing people saying Atlas makes money. Where's this thing with Atlas makes money? Because their games they don't hardly have any, and
But they do low print runs. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't
and a
have
lot of them are like $1 on a PSP now.
I know, but look at
So-
look at the overall numbers and see if any of them were ended up in the red though.
yeah.
that's I don't know where to find that stuff out at, so I'm just not
I mean,
sure.
Try going into a GameStop and buying an Atlas game that you do not pre-order.
Oh yeah, it's
Sometimes-
tough to find them.
Yeah, so I think they're very smart in that they do very low print runs, and the print runs sell out because the fan base is there. They know exactly how many they need to print in order to make a profit. So
I
instead of
still
like
think
instead of walking in there
Go
and
ahead.
seeing like 40 million Maddens sitting on the shelf and EA crying because they don't have any money, they're we're not selling any games, and then Atlas is being very. XSEED does the same thing. They do low print runs and they sell out, and then they, you know what I mean?
which I'm glad that like Xseed had such success with Last Story because you actually got to see a price drop on a game and not something go through the roof.
Yeah.
Like a Xenoblade. So that was
Well-
awesome.
They price dropped Pandora's Tower too, but I think that was to shift some units.
Yeah. But I still think the whole Atlas being bought could still happen because I don't know what these plans are overseas of what it helps, but I mean they still might want to cut Atlas from there just to save money as part of the plan still.
Yeah.
So who knows what? And I still think it'd be crazy to see if it happens, like who would buy them up and the best place to go. I think everyone was hoping either Sony or Nintendo. I think it, like we were all talking about in the discussion, it'd be great if Nintendo did it just so they could have something to hold their head on as far as just their first party games.
What would you think though if Microsoft threw their money at them and got them?
That'd be a bold move by them, seeing as I
Would
still
you
see
have an
they are.
Xbox One if they did that?
I don't know because I mean, the thing of it is with Atlas, I like their lesser titles. I say lesser in quotations, like
Yeah.
Radiant Historia or
Jean d'Arc.
Not
Or no,
SMT.
that was level
not
5.
SMT, yeah, or the Etrian games. But I'm not. I mean, I have a lot of SMT games, but I'm not fanatical about the series.
I was actually going through my collection. I think I only have like 3 Atlas games. Period. So I can't say much about
And
them.
They're probably all on the DS too, aren't they? Or DS or 3DS, aren't they?
I have R-Type Command for the PSP,
PSP,
Oh.
yeah.
and Code of Princess for the 3DS, and then I can't even remember what the third one was.
Etrian Odyssey 3.
Oh, yep, that was it. That was
Yep.
it. And that's the only 3.
Christ, Chance, I know your collection better than you do.
Well, yeah, you do. As a matter of fact, it's small enough.
I have a ton of Atlas, like PSP, and like Dustin was saying, DS. There's a bunch in here, so but none of them are like my favorite games. But they were some. There are some that are hard to find now, and some I actually got pretty cheap. Then all of a sudden they're worth a lot of money now. So it's kind of crazy how that works.
Yeah.
But speaking of companies, though, what do you guys think of how we got the Xseed and Atlas are kind of similar? I really feel like Namco Bandai is kind of stepping up their game a little bit the past couple of years too,
They are
bringing over some games.
Yeah, they really are. I'm really surprised how they're rededicating themselves to the Tales series. Like it seems like finally the Tales series is starting to get some recognition here in the West, and Bandai says, "All right, we're going to do it."
Which you had news on that too, right? With
Yep.
Tales.
Tales of Exilia 2 will be coming to the West.
Now that's a game that is already done over there, correct?
It's already done over there, yes.
And were those both like Tales of Exilia? That's coming out what, this month or next month? Is it already out?
It's coming out in August.
August, okay. Now was that a remake of a Wii title, if I have this
No.
correct?
No,
or-
that was
no.
built from the ground up for PS3.
All right. And so, but they're going to go ahead and bring. I wonder what made that decision. If pre-orders were good, or
I would
But they're
say,
like-
I would say pre-orders were good.
well, that's awesome that they're doing that. Or it'd be cool if they would be like, you know what? There are 2 of these. Why would we leave people hanging and not
Yeah.
let them see the end? That's kind of messed up. Like Dustin probably wishes they would do with another game series. But we'll see. Maybe that'll eventually come. You never know.
That one guy at Xseed is still working on it.
Trails of
that
Sky. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that just hit me like with the Xseed and Atlas talk that man, Namco Bandai, especially with the Tales games. I didn't pre-order Zillia, but since I still want to play Tales of Grace's F, and now I can't find it anywhere when I get my GameStop. So kind of disappointed with
Well, you
that.
got games like
But
Ni no Kuni too.
who's that?
What's that?
Did Namco Bandai do
Yeah.
Ni no Kuni?
Level 5 in Namco Bandai.
Oh yeah, level 5N Namco. Sweet man, they're becoming one of my favorites. And then with Project Cross Zone, which a lot of people picked up, even they did a fan service with that one, so they're really stepping it up.
Yeah, because you wouldn't think that Project X or Project Cross Zone. Sorry, let me pronounce it the correct way so no one bashes us. You wouldn't think that would be a game that would come out over here.
Definitely wouldn't. You wouldn't think that at all.
Yeah.
It's awesome that they do the fan service now and are actually looking at it. So I'm looking forward to some stuff they're going to bring out in the future. If it's just going to be more Tales stuff, or I mean, just more stuff that we kind of want over here that no one wants to bring over. So
I lied.
we'll see.
I found another Atlas game. Demon's Souls. I have that.
Yes, Demon Souls.
But not Dark
Well,
Souls.
Nope, don't have that one.
Well, how about we go into now just these questions? We got 3 quick questions, and we'll move on with either games you've been playing or the coup de grace, the top 10. So let's go ahead with these questions. MrRPGcrazy again, back with another question. Top 3 video game genres. Chance, Doomwaves, go.
I'm gonna have to be very typical here, and I'm gonna go with first-person shooters, and in no order. First-person shooters, shmups, and probably action RPGs.
Action RPG.
Like hack and
Nice.
slash action RPGs.
Cool. I'll go next. We can save Dustin for last. My top 3, I would probably say, man, that's tough. I just had the 3 in my head and lost them. I am a fan of first-person shooters, so I will say that. I don't know if they'd be my number 1, but BioShock and stuff like that, fantastic games. RPGs, but I want to break that down into which would be my favorite, kind of like you did, Chance. I really like the dungeon
I
crawling
didn't want to just say RPGs because that's so broad.
Yeah, it's so broad. Dungeon crawlers, you got your turn-based strategy. I really like grid-based strategy RPG, so I'd probably put that up in the top 3. And I'm a huge fan of just like adventure games, like a Jack and Daxter and stuff like that. So I guess I'd stick with those 3. Those are my 3. Dustin, go for it.
Well, number 1 will be RPGs, of course. And then this is one that I don't know how to technically. I don't know if like the name, like, would Metroidvania be a genre? Is that a genre now, or is that just okay?
Yeah, I think so, because when you say that, I know exactly the type of game you're talking about. So,
I love those types of side-scrolling games where you just explore. I think they're fantastic. And then finally, shmups, specifically vertical shmups.
Yeah, me too. I should clarify that.
So would you say out of RPGs, you're just classic turn-based?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I need to break that down. Traditional Japanese RPGs.
Yes. Awesome. But everyone probably already knew that if you watch our channels. All right. Now, next was from Holy Cow 1. What is the most underrated game you played? Dustin, go for it, man.
Well,
to give us time to think.
Oh, well, thanks. Way to sell me down the river. I don't think I can pick just one. I really loved. Well, I'm not going to say that game because it's actually on my list for later.
Okay.
One game that I really think didn't get a lot of action when it came out, but I think now it's starting to get more people into it is Nier. That's definitely one to check out. I'll give you guys a little.
Took what I was going to say.
Yes! See, here's the thing. Like, I have a hard time with, like, underrated games.
Yeah.
There are games that I don't think people really pay attention to anymore, like the Panzer Dragoon series.
I'll say, yeah, what does underrated mean? Like a game that got bad grades but it's really good, or a game that's good, just no one knows about it? It didn't sell well? Like,
I think underrated means it's technically supposed to be bad, but it actually has some redeeming qualities, I guess.
Okay.
Which, the game I just got done doing a game discussion on, Infinite Undiscovery, I listened back to that video, and it really sounds like I didn't like the game, but actually I did enjoy my time with it. It just has noticeable flaws. But there are certain games out there that you can just look past those flaws just for one reason or another. So I think that's really what an underrated game would be.
Oh, quick thing. Like you were saying in your video, Infinite Undiscovery, you find it like everywhere, like a year ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went to my GameStop and can't find them now.
Yeah.
And they were only like $7, and now I can't find one.
Yeah, I there's still a couple copies at my GameStop, but they're in those black cases. They're not in like the
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
I bought it back in January. I haven't even put it in yet.
Well, at least you got it. So there
It's
you
a
go.
quick one. You can get it done. I got it done in 19 hours. So,
I
and that was with me trying to fill in the map, as like when we did in Xenoblade. I was trying to do that too, and
Oh yeah,
you could probably actually beat it in like 17 hours.
man. Chance, you got anything on your mind, or you still
Yeah,
need some time?
I have several, so I'll just throw out a couple of titles and not really talk about them that much. Of course, Enslaved, Odyssey to the West.
Yeah, I knew someone was going to say it, so I didn't say that.
That's a fantastic game. A game that a lot of people hate, but I really enjoyed. Front Mission Evolved. I thought that one was pretty awesome.
There's no way that game can be good. That game has so much hate.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's fine.
I'm gonna try it though.
Well,
We gotta see. I gotta see.
I
what
would take
Chance
it on
comes-
360. Just my
Yeah.
experience with the PS3 with the floaty controls, like the control sticks. You
Yeah.
just feel like you're flying all over the place.
yeah. Red Faction Armageddon. Definitely very, very awesome game, and I don't hear anybody talking about that. This is an underrated port.
Which,
Quake 3 Revolution.
speaking of,
Sorry.
you haven't talked about Red Faction Armageddon yet,
It's
so people
because-
don't even really know your feelings on it yet.
Okay, well, I can't talk about it just yet because I really want to play the DLC, and I don't
Yeah.
have it yet because it's like another campaign, like an additional. I don't know how long it is, but I was pretty obsessed with that game. I actually beat it twice. Like,
That's awesome.
it's just really good, just really fun, mindless, run around, shoot
Made
stuff.
me so
and stuff.
happy when you said you had played that. I was so happy.
It's a fun game.
Oh, I got
under-
another one when Chance
Okay.
is done.
That's fine. I just got two more. Quake 3 Revolution. It's just an underrated port, I think. It's for the PlayStation 2, but it plays really well if you're used to first-person shooters with the dual thumbsticks, unlike the Dreamcast port, which only has one. And then last but not least, probably my definitive pick for most underrated game, though, is Quake 4 for multiple platforms.
Yeah. What was the other one you were thinking of, Dustin?
Silent Hill 4: The Room.
The Room.
That is where people started to hate Silent Hill. They started just to turn against it, and I think it's still like it is the Silent Hill that probably scared me the most.
That was the one that you were like kind of first person in the room, right?
You were
And then-
first person in the room, but then when you went into Silent
Yeah.
Hill, you were in third person. Yeah.
Cool beans. Okay, I guess I mean you guys listed enough, but I say Call of Duty 4. That's very underrated. Definitely check that. No, I'm
I
trying
thought you
to
were
think
serious
here.
for a second.
No.
It's like, what?
I was gonna say the same thing as you, Chance, like with Nier and Enslaved. I'm just trying to look at stuff here. I think like the Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans, that game, just not a lot of people tried it. I would still say give it a try because it is a pretty fun turn-based RPG. A game that a lot of people hated for some reason, but I really still enjoyed was Dragon Age 2. I don't know why that game got so much hate because I really loved the first Dragon Age Origins. And when 2 came out, I thought it was fantastic. So whether it's underrated or not, I don't know, but I don't think it deserves all the hate it got. It's definitely still a fun game. Vanquish, yeah, that's about all I can think of other than the stuff you guys have said already.
Pretty much anything by Team Ninja, I feel is underrated.
Even the new Devil May Cry that they did. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
people are just hating on it, and it's actually a really fun game.
Heavenly Sword was awesome. Enslaved is awesome. I really want to play DMC too. So, yeah, pretty much anything they do is underrated, I think.
None of us
I'm
said
waiting.
Mirror's. None of us said Mirror's Edge.
Well, I was thinking is that
That's more of a hidden
I was
gem.
looking at it. I was going to say, yeah, more of Hidden Gem maybe. I'm not sure. But I'm trying to think if that's what I put in my Hidden Gem response video. I can't remember. But But anyways, yeah, I guess those are all the underrated ones. I know we're supposed to pick one, but there you go. Holy cow, we picked a bunch.
Yeah.
So, R.E. Lewis, 2011. He would join this podcast and ask a question for the next podcast. If you could be any video game character and enter their world, who would it be and why? Wow, this is a doozy of a question because it's either like, do you want to go into a world where you have powers? Do you want to go into a world like I really like zombie stuff? Do I want to go into a world shooting up zombies? Or, I was thinking, I think I'd want to be a Sims character. Just put me in a Sim world and let me start building anything I want to build.
No. You don't get to build. Someone else builds for you. It's going to be like Duck Amuck.
They'll probably be drowning me in a pool or something.
We're going to put you into a room and remove the doors and windows and watch you go crazy.
That would be hilarious. Oh, man. That is just a tough one to pick. If something comes to mind for anyone, just say something.
Oh. Do we just want to... Are you trying to just pick one, or are we picking several?
I was just going to pick one, unless you guys got several you'd like to try.
Well, one part of me wants to go into Mega Man, because I want to be Mega Man. Part of me
I'd love
wants
to be Master Chief, because to have my regenerating shield and stuff, never really die if I just go hide.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty neat.
Part of me wants to go into Silent Hill, even though I would not make it out alive.
We were
And
talking about that, like we were all watching the second Silent Hill movie together, and I was saying it would, as bad as that movie was and everything, just being in the world, I couldn't last long. I'd crap my pants every 10 seconds. I don't know how anyone, like that chick was just roaming around like it's all cool, but nah, wouldn't happen.
it's all good, man. And I also think it'd be fun to be, like I said earlier, in Panzer Dragoon and ride around one of those dragons.
Ah, yeah, that'd be neat too. Oh, that reminds me, like Ni no Kuni. You get to drive a dragon in that. You can catch Pokemon critters. That'd be pretty cool, I guess, if you're into the whole Pokemon thing, riding a dragon.
It's not a very threatening world, so you might survive.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Got any chance?
I'd go to Mars, like Red Faction Armageddon, because I'd have a nano forge and
A unicorn gun?
a badass
Mr.
weapon.
Mr. Toots?
Mr. Toots. I could kill anything with Mr. Toots.
It'd be cool to visit Rapture. I'd say that. It'd be cool to go down.
Oh shit. That's good.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a love-hate relationship with that game right now.
Because of the Houdini splicers?
Oh my god, those things are crazy.
Oh, but just use your lightning bolt and zap them, and then...
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I heard you say, like, you're not paying attention to the little details, and that's one of the great things with the game is the little details. I know, but
it's like I'm always playing because my PS3 is in my bedroom now, so I'm only like playing it like for like an hour before I go to sleep, and it's just like I'm just trying to survive, and in that it's because I'm doing that I'm not paying close enough attention to a lot of details.
Yeah.
So
it's all right. Yeah. Your second time through, you're going to just stand there and look at everything.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's a fantastic game, and I'm having fun with it. I'm just not paying attention as much as I should, and because of that, I'm having a hell of a time. Like it's hard for me to like just to live, like because I run out of ammo and
I want to live.
Yeah. So yeah, but Rapture would be very cool to see.
So you said you play it right before bed. So have you honestly
Usually.
had any kind of dreams with some splicers in it maybe yet? Or
no dreams, but I tell you what, that first time that I had a Houdini splicer pop up right beside me, I was a little freaked out because I didn't know that it had done that, and I was turning around, and then just there it was. Like, holy crap, where the hell did you come from? And, I really did get a little freaked out by it. I was like, oh, my God. And then I had that realization afterwards. I think that was the first time that I was ever actually scared by something in a video game. Because I haven't played any survival horror at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was as close to any survival horror as I have come. Except, I guess, for, like, the first time that I played Doom, as a kid, I can remember being kind of scared. But... just because I didn't want to die.
That's awesome.
But other than that, like you said, Master Chief. I'd love to be Master Chief.
It'd be awesome. Everyone worshiping you like, you're the best.
Oh, man, it's a Spartan. I'm not just a Spartan. I'm the Spartan.
Yeah, Spartan.
So there we go. There were the 3 questions from last episode. If you guys have any more you want to ask, just please leave them in the bottom in the comments, or feel free to just leave them down there. Message them to us, whatever you want to do, and we'll be glad to answer them next episode. So thank you, we appreciate it. And where do y'all want to go? Should we finish with our top tens, or you want to go into games we've been playing? What do y'all want to transition to?
Whatevs.
Whatevs.
Let's go ahead what we've been playing recently, so we'll save the best for last. So I got mine's real quick, so I just been playing since The Last of Us. I've been playing just 3 games, kind of particularly. Super Mario Galaxy, finally got that, picked it up, loving it. It's probably going to be my favorite 3D Mario game. I could probably say that already. It's my favorite 3D Mario game over 64. All the others, I just think it's perfect. The platforming was perfect. Everything's perfect in it. I'm almost near the end. I think I need 60 stars to get to like the final area. I'm not sure. I'm sitting at like 56. I'm so close. So, like I was telling the guys before we started recording, after we're done here, I'm going back into that and trying to finish that game tonight. But really, really enjoying it. Also playing Project Cross Zone. I believe there's like 40 chapters in it, and I'm up to 18 or 19 chapter. I'm having some fun with it. It's kind of like in a way, it's got this stupid story I'm not even paying attention to, and I don't really care less. It's just like the animations and the combat and stuff. It's just so cool seeing all these characters. Some I don't even know, and it's in a tactical strategy RPG setting. So, and I really like strategy RPGs. So there's not too much strategy as far as like the grid, like moving about, and like many other strategy games. But I'm still enjoying it, having a good time with it, especially with the combat. So let's see. I know I was playing something else, but now it slips my mind. Project Cross Zone, Super Mario Galaxy, and Infamous. Yes, Infamous on the PS3. I was playing that. I put a few hours into that, about 2 or 3. Pretty cool. I like being able to jump from buildings and jump off of roofs and not getting hurt. So that's pretty cool. But I haven't played it long enough to give it a real, like, deep, thorough thought through yet. So other than that, I think that's about it.
New Leaf.
Oh, that's another one. Animal Crossing New Leaf. Sorry,
that's not a game. That's crack.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Actually, I'm 4 days clean right now on this crack. So, but yeah, Animal Crossing New Leaf. I've never played an Animal Crossing game. I picked it up for my wife to try to get her involved into it and playing it. Before she played it, though, I played it, and I played it for a couple hours straight, right off the pack. And then she got home, she nailed 5 hours into it, and she actually liked it. So just if you're used to Animal Crossing, I guess it's the tried and true method. I'm not sure, but you catch bugs, you catch fish, which I'm addicted to fishing in it. So, and you just try to make money to build your house better and make your town prettier and all that other stuff. So I actually got online with some people in the AGP community, Movie Star Kitten and Sporadic Spacebar. Got to go visit their towns and everything. I know Dem Trooper, she's got it too. So a lot of us got the game and are playing. And it's pretty cool seeing all these other towns with Movie Star Kitten. She's like, her town is like decked out. And if you know her, she is like a girly girl, and that her town is decked out just like it. And it just fits her personality so well. So it's kind of awesome seeing people's towns and houses, how they all like it. Their personality comes out in the game. It's pretty cool. So put a lot of time into it that you just don't realize is going by because you're doing these simple, mundane things, yet it's fun. But yeah, I'm 4 days clean right now. So Project Crosszone's been stuck in the 3DS instead of Animal Crossing. So, and I understand why a lot of people probably got the digital version of that game, because it is a game that if you have, like, I have Project Cross Zone in, but you want to take a few minutes to do something in your town. I mean, I can understand why people want a digital copy of that, like a lot of people have gotten. So, yeah, that's it for me then.
I like that you were playing that game because I enjoyed you getting onto the Facebook chat and asking the girls to open the gate to their town. It just sounded so friggin' dirty.
And I gained entry, everybody. And it was great.
Please open the gate to your village. Oh.
I did a lot of planting while I was in there.
Planting seeds.
Yeah. Anyways, whoever wants to take it next. Well, then Jason opened his gate too, so that's when it really got crazy.
Man, whoa.
Whoops.
Whoa.
Switch hitting.
I'll go ahead and go because it's pretty quick. I have a lot of games going, but I'm only actively playing like 3.
Which I have to say, Dustin, you've been great at like keeping secret what you've been playing, like through the discussions. It's been pretty cool. Like all of a sudden, Dustin will be like, "Oh, here's a discussion video on Infinite Discovery." Like, what? You've been playing
Yeah.
this game? Like, what's going on?
No, I talked about it a little bit in the.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, you did a
I
little
saw
bit,
it.
like when you were near finishing it.
but sometimes the shit goes so quick in there, it's hard to keep track. But on the Vita, I have been playing Thomas Was Alone. Now, this is a game that I downloaded on my Steam,
Yay!
but for some reason I couldn't get into it. I think because with platformers you need a really good controller, and my PC controller isn't that great for platformers. I bought it mainly to play like RPGs and stuff with. So I kind of just put Thomas Was Alone up, and then I saw it was on the Vita for $10, and it is a great game, and I felt okay with giving that company another $10 to download it on the Vita, and it's really awesome on the Vita. So I've been playing that not every night, but most nights before I go to bed.
I'm glad
And
you're
then-
playing because since I
Yeah.
gifted you the first one, I was like, I hope he at least plays this game since it was a gift.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're at least getting to play it.
Yeah. And then, what was I going to say? God damn it, Steven. On the 3DS, I've been playing Project Cross Zone, and I refer to this game as Flashy Fluff. Fun, flashy fluff. It's a F3. It's very fun to play. It's very awesome to look at, and you don't really have to think that much while you're playing it. There is some strategy to it, but compared to like a Final Fantasy Tactics or a Tactics Ogre, it's not very deep. It's kind of like it's a pond that's a mile long but an inch deep. So, but that being said, I am having a lot of fun with it, and I love seeing all the characters interact. And I'm probably paying a little bit more attention to the storyline than Steven is, and it's just it doesn't make a lick of sense. Like
Yeah.
they're just throwing characters together, and it's like, well, this portal's making our worlds combine, and it's just like, okay.
That's pretty much every chapter. Like, oh, we're into this other world we got
Yeah.
transported to because of this. Yeah.
But the thing the game is doing is making me want to play other games. Like, I really want to play God's Eater Burst right now. Like, I'm looking at it on my shelf. I just want to get my PSP and throw it in.
They're like my two favorite characters right now.
Yeah.
That team in the game.
And then I really like the characters from what's that robot game? That is
Super Robot Tyson and the Sojis. Yeah.
yeah, I really like
He's
those
awesome
characters.
too. Hakan.
And the characters from Dot Hack are really powerful as well. It seems like.
Yeah.
So it's like the greatest. Like, just if you're looking for some new games to buy, go buy this game, and then it'll point you in the direction of like 20 other games to go buy. So it's a great commercial for all of their respective series. And then the final game that I'm playing is Silent Hill Homecoming on the 360. And I'm actually really enjoying this game. However, it's pissing me off to no end because, and I wrote about this on Facebook, you do not think about camera controls until a game does not allow you to invert the camera. And if you're like me, when I play first-person shooters, I always have the camera stick inverted because I like to pull back on the stick to look up and push forward to look down because it's like I'm pulling on the back of their head. It makes sense to me that way. So here I am trying to fumble through Silent Hill, and I'm pushing forward, and the camera's going up, and it took me forever to wrap my brain around that, and it pissed me off to no end. But other than that, I'm actually really enjoying this Silent Hill, even though I'm a little pissed because it's incorporating stuff from the movie, like when the world changes, it changes like it does in the movie where the paint peels off the wall and flies upwards. And then once again, Pyramid Head is in this for no fucking reason. So, but he's kind of the mascot of the Silent Hill series now, so he's probably in everything. He's probably in Downpour. I don't know. I haven't got the Downpour yet. He's probably in that as well. And that is what I've been playing.
Downpour is one I've been wanting to give a try, but I completely forgot about Homecoming. Is that one that's pretty cheap these days since it is kind of old now? Or
yeah, it's pretty cheap.
So I might give that a try then, because unlike you, when you meant inverted, I thought you wanted to switch it to where it was making you do inverted controls, and you want to go when I push up, I look up. I can't stand the way you play.
Man.
It's third person probably I could deal with it, but not first person.
Any camera, I have to, because it just makes sense to me. Because if I'm pulling back on the stick, then it's like I'm pulling back on the camera and pulling it up. It depends.
Oh, I understand your logic. Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand it, but I could never get used to that. When I push up, I wanted to look up.
Well, I think
What
it came from playing like
so like Halo, you would play it that way?
Yeah, it's like it came from like playing like flight games, where you'd have to pull back on the stick to go up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so my brain got like, because like in Star Fox, that's what you had to do. You had to pull back on the stick to fly upwards.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from.
What about you, Chance? Are you into that stuff with the inverted controls? While my son is saying "Daddy" to me. Hello?
Chance?
Sorry about that.
No.
Had on mute.
Ah.
Inverted, or I can't play it.
So you're inverted too.
Yes, I cannot do it the other way.
Maybe
will
I'm the
fumble
weirdo
and fumble and fumble and fumble, and then I'll just say F it and stop playing it because I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe Silent Hill Homecoming might not be the game for you.
Sounds like not.
But here's the weird thing though. It allows you to invert the aiming controls. So like because you have to hold down the left trigger to hold up your weapon. And then you use the right trigger to fire, or no, you use the A button. I don't remember. But when you aim, you can invert that just fine, but you can't.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make a lick of sense.
Yeah, I can't do not inverted. Never could.
All right, well that's what we've been playing recently, and now Dustin, I'm gonna make this complicated for you because I'm gonna go tuck my son in because he's crying because I won't say goodnight to him. So,
well, I haven't gone over mine.
We're gonna make
Chance still has to go yet.
Well, how would the cutting go then? Now I'm trying to think where I ended it.
What are you talking about?
We already screwed it up anyway. Well, I mean, you're gonna have to like cut this part out because Chance can go ahead and do his, but I'm gonna go tell my son goodnight because he's crying because I won't tell him goodnight.
Steven, I don't make edits in the body of the. This is all going in.
Oh, it's fine with me too. So, everyone, I'm gonna go kiss my son goodnight. But I'll be back in just a second.
I'll probably still be talking when you get back.
All right, go for it, man. You can go ahead and start yours if you want.
Okay. I've been playing a lot, but not a lot, if that makes sense. Like I have several games that I've played a little bit here and there, but I haven't put tons and tons of time into any of them.
All right, before I go, so you're saying you've been chancing these games? Is that what it's chancing?
Oh, there it is.
I've been chancing them, yes.
Okay, now I'll be back.
Okay. I already talked about BioShock, PlayStation 3. Like I said, I don't need to talk about it again, other than to say that I really do like it a lot, but I just haven't been putting tons of time into it. A game that I finished recently that I think very, very highly of is Vai, or Vi, however you want to say it, originally on the Sega CD, but I played it on iOS. I had a ton of fun with it. RPG, turn-based, very easy, colorful. Easy in that it's very linear. There's just one path to take, and you just follow that path and beat the enemy.
See, that's the thing I wonder though, because the Sega CD version is notorious for like its difficulty spikes. Like,
really?
Yeah, you'll be in a dungeon and you'll be walking around with just enemies that are easy to beat, and then all of a sudden you just get to these enemies that like will stomp you, and then you move further. I think they rebalanced it for iOS, but yeah, like you'd run into just an enemy that would just decimate you, and then you'd move on and be like another weak enemy again. Like there was no rhyme or reason to like the enemy layouts.
Well, that's. I don't know. I would suggest playing both versions then, I guess. Just if you're looking for entertaining but easier go at it, then I definitely would suggest the iOS version. I played it on the iPhone, and I did not love the controls because it is touchscreen, but it's not like it doesn't have like a digital D-pad on it. It's just you touch the left side of the screen, or the right side, or the top, or the bottom. That's how you control it. And because it is, a turn-based, when you enter into a battle, it just has like a menu across the top of the screen, and you just hit, you touch the sword to attack, or the little magic spell looking thing to do a spell. But then there's the AI function too, and if you hit the AI function, it you won't cast nobody will cast magic. Everybody will just do a physical attack. But most of the people have pretty good attacks depending on what weapon you give them. So that was helpful. That it made it go by a lot faster to be able just to hit AI on the easier battles. Because you didn't have to sit there and just keep clicking the button. You just hit AI and it would just play out the battle, and then you would just move on.
Now, I will tell you this. You'll see, because you like playing these on the iOS, you'll definitely want to look into Lunar then.
Yeah.
Because the way Lunar controls is wherever you touch on the screen, your characters will just go there.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
See,
they kind of did
click,
that too.
yeah.
They kind of did that too, but it was really slow if you did that. They walked really slow. Whereas if you held the side or the top or the bottom, they would run. So, it moved a little bit faster. And I watched some gameplay of the Sega CD version, not too much, just a little bit. And it did seem like they walked a lot slower. So I can imagine the Sega CD version taking a lot longer to finish.
Yeah.
I want to say I finished this in less than 15 hours. I want to say. I really don't know because I have no way of keeping track. And I didn't time it, so I really don't know. But very fun game. Definitely worth buying if you like RPGs and you have an iOS device, because it's only like $2, $2 or $3, something like that. So definitely worth getting. Let's see here. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. I played that on iOS too. I'm in love with that game. I downloaded it for free on the App Store, but it is the freemium version, meaning you get like 2 episodes and then you have to pay for it. But the 2 episodes were substantial enough that I felt like I got a really good taste of the game. It's 2 complete cases, and then I think the game itself only has like 5. So definitely gave me a good enough taste to convince me that I need to buy this game. And I think the trilogy for all 3 of just the original story or the Phoenix Wright series is like $16 total on the iOS, and then obviously they're more on the DS. So I really don't know which route I'm going to take, because that collector in me really wants the physical copies for the DS, but I might end up just buying it on the iOS and then still just maybe trying to find the physical copies later down the road. A game that I didn't put much time into at all, Ratchet and Clank. I played it for a little bit. I recently picked up that game in a trade with Sporadic Spacebar. Lots of fun. I don't need to talk about Ratchet and Clank. It's just a nice change of pace from the other kinds of games that I play normally. Let's see here. Warhammer 40K for the Xbox 360. I've talked about that one in the past. I'm actually about 2/3, 3/4, something like that, the way done with it. It's a third-person shooter, a lot like Gears of War. Very fun, over the top. Lots of destruction, stuff like that. Very fun game. 2 more. I've got Exit DS. I just started it like last night because I was really in the mood for. I really wanted to play like a puzzle / text adventure kind of game. Like I really want to play 999. Like that is like the top game that I want to play right now for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just the combination of playing Phoenix Wright and wanting to play like text-based and choice-based games like that. So 999 looks really attractive to me right now. So I started Exit DS, which is just a puzzle type game where you try to figure out how to get to the end of the level by just using like your stylus and pointing to your character and just telling him what to do and stuff like that. And last but not least, E7. I'm about, I think, 8.5, 9 hours into it. I am at the Holy Precincts of the Wind. It is an amazing game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Really awesome action RPG. Don't need to talk about Ys too much because pretty much everybody that listens to us probably knows what Ys is. And it's my first Ys game. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I think Steven said this was actually the longest one of all of them.
Yeah, I think it is. Like 20-some hours it took me.
Yeah. So I'm maybe about halfway then. I have no idea, but I've got 3 or 4 of the seals. I think, not sure. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Wish I could have heard what you were playing.
Well,
At
you want
least I
me to
got
give
to
you
hear East.
the names anyway?
Yeah, give me a brief rundown. If anyone knows, or if it's still in the podcast or not, I went to go tell my son goodnight. So I heard E7.
Okay, I talked about E7, talked about Exit DS, Bioshock, They, Phoenix Wright, Ratchet and Clank, and Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
Which Ratchet and Clank were you playing?
Just the first one. I'm actually really new to the entire genre of those type of games. Like I've never played any of those in the past, and Sporadic Spacebar and I recently did a trade, and I ended up with all 3 of the PS2 games.
Yeah.
So I'm starting those a little bit, just kind of a change of pace from the games I typically play. You know, some humor and guns and wrench, nuts and bolts. Never hurt anybody.
I'm actually really wanting to play those too because I got them as well, and they've been really. I don't know if I want to get the HD remake to play them or just play the ones I have since I have them. So
I thought about that
remake's
too.
cheap.
I thought about that too. I was like, well, you know, I kind of want them on PS3, but he had them, and I wanted to do a trade with him anyway. So I was like, okay, sure, throw those in there too.
Did you play any Ratchet and Clank, Dustin, or you a fan of those?
No, I haven't.
Okay, cool.
But isn't there a one for the PS3?
Yeah, there's like the HD collection has like the first 3 at least, and I think there's a couple other ones on the PS3 too.
Yeah.
Oh wait, the ones I want to play are Jack and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter, yeah.
Oh yeah.
You can get that, man. That was $10 the other week for a PS3 version for all 3, but I want the Vita HD remake actually. Well, sweet. I actually forgot one of mine. I'm playing Shining Force Neo. Yeah, I'm playing Shining Force Neo on the PS2. That's one of the pickups I got last month, and man, I'm loving that game. I know, Dustin? You'll probably know Shining Force. They're normally a strategy like RPG type games, right?
Yeah, more often than not. But then there's like Shining in the Dark. It's the Shining series.
Okay.
It's like just the Shining games are like first-person dungeon crawlers, but then Shining Force is a strategy RPG. So
okay,
yeah.
Well, this was a Shining Force Neo, and it's an action like RPG, and I am really loving it. Like the art style has that like Dragon Quest look, and the voice acting is horrible, but it's basically, it kind of feels like a dungeon crawler, and the main character can either be a mage or a two-handed weapon fighter or a bow and arrow, but you can just switch on the fly. You don't have to pick one and stick with it. From what I played, now apparently you can invest some points into making certain abilities stronger, but it's pretty cool because you hack away with the circle button on your PS2, and then you have a bunch of skills you just scroll through with triangle for different weapons. And I don't know if you've tried that one yet or not, Dustin or Chance, but I mean, I'm really liking it within the voice acting.
Good.
Yeah, I keep thinking about picking it up, but then I never buy it online and I never see it anywhere I go.
The only thing with it is because I know there's another PS2, I think Shining Tears or Shining something like that.
It's I know which one. It's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah.
Okay. Now apparently they're kind of the similar type of game, but this game in Tears, when you died, you pretty much start over from where you died at, I believe. But in this game, it gives you a warp stone that I could be in the middle of fighting and near death, and I can warp back to the main town, get some potions and heal up all my water bottles and warp back, and it puts me right back at the spot where I warped out, back in the middle of combat again, but this time at full health. So it is really overpowered, but I mean,
that kind of game.
it's pretty tough, the combat actually. I'm finding myself using my potions a lot, and they're just water bottles that you refill at fountains, but I mean, you run out pretty quick, so I'm actually glad that it has that warp option to it. Something I kind of wish the first-person dungeon crawler type games would have, an easy warp option like that, but I don't know. I'm loving it. So
Etrian Odyssey.
That would defeat the purpose, though.
Yeah, that makes them really. That's one of the special things, I guess, with dungeon crawlers, just making you get that little bit more push. But anyways, Chance, what's the other one you were forgetting?
Just briefly, I talked about it in my video that I just uploaded it today. I started Final Fantasy VII last night for some unforeseen reason. I don't know why I started it. I got past the spot that I always got stuck on before. I never got past like the first reactor that you're supposed to blow up in the very beginning of the game. I don't know why. I just never could. But I haven't tried in years. But so I put it in last night. Played it for about an hour and a half. Come back a little bit later. Was going to play it some more, and then my save file was gone. So that PlayStation 1 memory card might end up in the trash. I don't know.
Awesome. Well, there we go. That's what we've been playing. And now the moment everyone's been waiting for.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. This is a list that, I mean, I could probably make changes forever on this list. But we've narrowed down for us our top 10 favorite games of all time. They might not be the best scored games out there. They're just personal to us. That means they mean something to us, and that's why they're in our top 10. Of course, no one's top 10 is ever going to be the best to everybody, but I mean,
well, mine is.
Chance has the best top 10 ever, hands down. So, but this was, making this list, you guys, it was pretty tough. Like we were talking, 10 was kind of, it's tough narrowing down when you think of all the hundreds of games we probably played and beat. It was tough.
I put my list together in like 5 minutes.
Mine went through quick, but I had like 20 I wanted to keep switching in the top 10.
Did you like put them in order and all that stuff?
No, I don't have an order. I started writing down titles of games I really loved and know would be on the list, and then cutting it down to the 10 was tough, so I'll probably mention my honorable mentions first. But other than that, how do we want to dive into this? We'll each just say one, or we'll list our 10, or what do y'all want to do?
I think it'd be good if we just swap around.
Yeah, because that way if we say the same thing, we can just be like, well, that was on my list too. And for anyone who doesn't know, we haven't shared our list yet, so this will be something we all hear for the first time. Which
there's not going to be any surprises.
We
Mine
expect
is so
to hear
predictable.
some.
Chance is just like 1 through 5 is going to be like 5 Quakes, and then the other 4 games is going to be like all the Dooms.
Well, for some honorable mentions for me, which actually might make other people's list, I'm not sure. But I put Nier as an honorable mention because it was almost in the top 10, but not there yet. Shadows of the Damned, love that game on 360 and PS3, Suda51, but again, just didn't quite make the list. And Dead Space, another newer game, survival horror genre. Just love that series, but couldn't make the list. And finally, Sonic Adventure. I wanted to put it on there so bad, but it's just so nostalgic for me because it was my first Sega Dreamcast game, and I actually really enjoy that game. I rebought it on Xbox 360 Arcade just because I wanted to see the little HD updates to it. But man, I love Sonic Adventure, but didn't make the top 10. Anyone else got some honorable mentions they want to shoot out, or what?
Well, my honorable mentions are just like other games in the series that I added to my list.
Well, we won't spoil yours then.
Yeah, I just no question. There's a Final Fantasy game on my list, but there probably would be 2 or 3, really. But
there isn't.
I only just put one on there, so stuff like that.
Dustin, any, or you want to get into it?
No, mine's the same as Chance, whereas the other ones would just be in the same series.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and just get us started here, and I'm going to get the obvious out the way. Resident Evil 2, one of my favorite games of all time. It's my favorite game of all time. So I'll get that out the way right now since it was so predictable. I just loved everything about that game, from the music when you're first entering the police station. I just love the sounds of it. The save room piano theme is still to this day one of my favorite little themes in any video game. And just the finding an item, taking it somewhere else to unlock a door, limited ammunition. It's the characters. I just really enjoyed everything with that game. I could play it again and again, and it never gets old to me. So Resident Evil 2 is on my list. Did it make anybody else's?
Nope.
Negative.
Nope.
But
okay.
I will say this. Capcom could literally start printing money right now if they released an HD remake like the GameCube Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
With all these compilations, I'm surprised they haven't done something yet.
Yeah.
Like with maybe just like Resident Evil remake and Zero, since that was a like more graphically challenging game, I guess, than the originals was. Just put those in a package or something. I don't know. But yeah. All right, who wants to go next? Chance, take it. First game
Okay.
for you.
I'll go ahead and get out my super predictable one out of the way. Doom. Obviously, I picked the first one. Primarily because it's the one that I played the most. I played this game hundreds of times. I've got the maps pretty well memorized of where everything is, and I can't necessarily do like a no death run on like a high difficulty. I've tried, and it's difficult. I'm usually about middle of the road as far as difficulty when I play it. I'm not the best at the game, but I kind of know where stuff is at least. Obviously, the music is burned into everyone who's ever played this game. Can recognize that first song for E1, M1, and the screen after you beat the level. Everyone's got those two songs, just ingrained in their memory, and it's just a phenomenal game. I can't say enough good things about it, but they've already been said. So there you go.
Awesome.
I was actually
Didn't make my list.
Yeah.
Of course, I nods to Doom 2 and Doom 3 also. I just played Doom 3 this year for the first time. Loved them both. And 2, it's in and of itself is not that much different than 1, other than you get the super shotgun and there's some different enemies and obviously more complex levels and stuff like that. But it all started with Doom, and that's where I stay.
It was really surprising to me when I got the BFG edition, and I was playing 3 and I was having a good time, and I was like, well, let me just boot up the old one just for nostalgia's sake. And then I just sat there and like played and played and played and played and played, and I couldn't put the damn thing down. And I think that's a testament to a amazingly designed game.
Yeah, I did the same thing with the BOG edition. Just kept playing that first one and just didn't stop. Right. All right, so Dustin, go ahead.
Okay,
First
well,
one on
since
your
we're getting off the easily predictable ones, Final Fantasy VI.
Yep.
I still say it's the best Final Fantasy. Because the thing with it is, Final Fantasy to me will always be like that 16-bit era Final Fantasy. And then like when Final Fantasy Dimensions came out, the reason why I loved it so much was because it was just a complete homage to that. And like when it got to the PlayStation, they started messing with. That's when they really started messing with the Final Fantasies. So 6 to me stands as the crown jewel of classic Final Fantasy. So
awesome. Yeah, that intro, just for intros of all time, it's definitely in the probably top 5, if not the best intro ever in a game.
Every time
so memorable.
Every time I restart that game, I sit and watch that opening credit just in its entirety. And sometimes I've even booted the game up just to watch it. But now that I have, we have YouTube and all that kind of stuff, I just go to YouTube and watch it there.
Awesome. Did it make your list, Chance?
No, because I don't own it and never played it, so I really want to. That's actually one of my more sought-after games. But see, I just don't know. I want the Super Nintendo cart, but I just don't know if it's worth it to me when I could just buy it on the Virtual Console, or maybe try to get the PlayStation version, which comes with all 5 also. But I think if I was to do that, I'd have to get an actual PS1 to do.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the ones that you can't play in the PS2, which sucks.
You can play it, you just can't save.
Okay, well that sucks. Well,
so, beat it in one setting.
Yeah, and my recent hatred for memory cards, I think that Virtual Console might be the way to go.
Awesome. All right, well, I'll get number 2 for me going, and I'm going to try to pick one here that might be on someone else's list, and I'm going to say BioShock. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Dustin, did it make your list?
Actually, no.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Well, see, here's the thing. Mine, I threw it together very haphazardly, because that's just how I do it. And 2, I approached it more of, these aren't like my top 10 all-time games. This is more like if I was stuck on an island and I needed to have 10 games that keep me entertained for the rest of my life, what 10 games would I want? And I must have just glazed over BioShock. So that could be in my honorable mentions.
Okay. Well, Bioshock I have to put as one of my favorites ever. Playing through that game, just playing through the demo the first time, and me and my buddy both kind of just sitting there, seeing him get scared at that first scene, and then handing me the controller. I kind of knew this was a game I wanted to get, and I was just wrapped into Rapture. Just I could when I got that game, I did not want to put it down. I believe I called out of work one day so I could stay home and keep playing it, but and just the story in that game, the setting, visually, and man, just everything about that game I enjoyed. The first person shooter aspect, and with having abilities in one hand, telekinesis, shooting things back at people is awesome, shocking them, then a weapon in the other hand. And like Chance, I know you're sitting there having problems with ammo and beating people with your wrench. I love beating people with my wrench in that game. So it's
Yeah,
just, I
lightning
just love
bolt wrench.
everything with it. Yep. And just the little things in the game, like reading the signs and just seeing this world. And then to further just increase the depth of that world when reading the book on it, just it's just such a great game and great story. I love it. So it's got to be in my top 10 ever. And there's actually a lot of just like current stuff here. So in my top 10, just heads up. But that's my second one.
Is the book the first game, or is it like a prequel?
The book it takes place. It's everything that happened before the first game. So like a
Yeah.
lot of the audio logs that you're finding,
Uh-huh.
the book just kind of expands on those.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
think if I were to read that book and also while playing this game or whatever, I think I would appreciate it a lot more.
No, you want to read the book.
No,
after,
no, no.
You
Yeah.
want to read the book after you play Bioshock 2.
After
Yeah.
Bioshock 2, okay.
Yeah, don't read this
'Cause it
book.
incor- it
'Cause it'll spoil
incorporates-
stuff for you.
It incorporates the entirety because it was written after Bioshock 2, so it incorporates the stuff that happens in Bioshock 2 as well, setting that.
Oh, okay. Understood.
But if you it's a great read, and it does. I loved it. So, but anyways, yes. Take it away, Chance. Number 2 for you.
I'm just going to go down my list because these are not really in order. I would say that Doom is probably my favorite of all time, definitively, but the rest of them just kind of fall in. Next, I would pick, of course, Wolfenstein 3D. The first, the best. It is just a phenomenal experience, especially for a kid. When I was a kid, this game was fairly new, and on PC, of course. And my mom tinkered around with PCs a little bit, so we had one. I know a lot of people, in the early '90s didn't really have PCs, but we had one. It wasn't great, but it ran Wolfenstein 3D, and I would just sit there and play it, and then I would get up early in the morning and boot up the computer, and I knew how to do like the DOS commands and stuff. I don't remember how, of course, but I knew how to do that to like boot up the game somehow, and yeah, it was just something so rewarding about shooting Mecha Hitler. It just stuck with me for eternity. And yeah, I have this game. I guess I should say that about Doom too. I have those games on so many platforms. I have Wolfenstein for the Atari Jaguar. I have it on XBLA. I have it on PC still. I have it on iOS. And Doom is the same. I've got it, on 7 or 8 different platforms, and it's one of those games that it just never gets old. I can just play it, and yeah.
I've never played Wolfenstein 3D.
Oh, don't tell me that.
I have
Do
never
not tell
played
me
it.
that.
I have played it, but it was on the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, see that port is actually not bad. Well, I wouldn't say that about Doom. I hate the Super Nintendo port of Doom. I mean, but if it's the only version you played, then you wouldn't know any better. But the Wolfenstein one is really not too bad.
But they remove all the Nazi references,
Well, yeah, of course they censored the whole thing.
which is stupid because you're killing the Nazis. So
But yeah, it's really good. But it's there's actually like a website that I could send you that you can act like the website itself is the game. Like you can just boot up the game. In the
I was gonna
website.
say, is there like an arcade download on Xbox or PlayStation?
Yeah,
or do you know?
Xbox Live Arcade. I think it's like 800.
That'd be like just 400
points.
probably.
Yeah,
Okay,
maybe you're
800.
right. 400. It's really cheap. I got it not too long ago, and the XBLA port is a perfect port of the PC version. So it's everything exactly the same as it was on the PC, whereas the Super Nintendo version is not. Well, besides the censorship, it's got smaller, less levels, and some of the bosses are different, and it's got 2 additional weapons that aren't on the PC version. You get a flamethrower and a rocket launcher on the Super Nintendo version and the Atari Jaguar version that don't appear on the PC version. So yeah, you have 3 guns and they all use the exact same ammunition. So it's pretty bare bones first person shooter, but that doesn't take away from the quality of it at all. It's awesome.
Nice. All right, Dustin, take it away. Number 2 for you.
Well, yeah, like Chance, I just threw
Yeah,
this
no
list.
order. Yeah.
No order. Super Metroid. Make
Nice.
anyone's list?
Nope.
I've actually SNES Mapper did a video discussion on like Fusion, I believe, and I had mentioned I never played Super Metroid, and that's one I gotta play because I played Fusion. I played the Game Boy ones, but I've never played the SNES one yet.
He did a Super Metroid video too because he just got it on Wii U.
Yes, he did. You're right. You're correct.
Like
He did,
really cheap.
Mhm.
Yeah, like we are so used to like games with that just drip atmosphere nowadays. And back in the Super Nintendo days, it wasn't really that way until like Super Metroid was the first game I remember playing. I just felt like I was completely immersed in the world. And like when I'd sit there and play it, and I knew Samus was a woman, but I'd still imagine that I was in the armor going through, basically how Metroid Prime ended up being. That's how I would imagine while I was playing the game,
Yeah.
So that was one of the first games that really made me feel that way, like I was a part of the game.
Now, in that game, is it easy to? I know that type of style is exploration, going from one area and then backtracking to the other. I hate backtracking in games. Is it really bad in like this Metroid game, or is it easy to get lost in it, or does it have a good map system?
You have a map system, and while you do,
I want to say in one of the games I played, the door would blink of the one that like, okay, you're gonna have to make your way this area next. So it would give me like a little hint that I need to go that way. Is that in here anywhere?
Not so much.
Okay.
But it's not as bad as Metroid 2. Metroid 2 is like, that's almost
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you will get lost in that game. You will get
I love
lost.
that game, but it is crazy.
And if you're gonna play Metroid 1, I would say play Zero Mission instead of playing the NES version, because you will get lost in the NES version as well.
Yeah.
But Super Metroid, no, it's pretty. I mean, for the big Metroidvania style, it's actually pretty kind of linear in a lot of ways. Like it's not really towards the end of the game when everything is open to you and you have to go around and find like more missiles and more bombs and things like that really you can get lost. But by that time, you know the map so well that you know where you're at and you know where you need to go.
Okay.
Now, I didn't play that game too much, but is there like times where you can end up in an area that you're not supposed to be at yet, and like you get to a point where you have to backtrack out of it, and then you get like lost kind of because you weren't really supposed to be there yet?
No, you can't get any like. By the time you can go through like the super missile doors, you have what you need to get through. Like you'll find a spot where you can't like make a long jump or something like that. 'Cause you need the screw attack, but there's another path that you can follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I started that game and I played it for several hours, but then my cart lost my save file. The battery was going dead, so I never did. Restart it though.
Yeah.
But I could just remember getting to a part where it's like, okay, I feel like I shouldn't be here because I can't do this, and then I wasn't sure where I was supposed to go.
There is a part when you get to Norfar where you'll start taking damage because you don't have the Verisuit yet.
Yeah.
You just have to get through there really quick.
Like where it's too hot or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's got like lava and shit.
Right, where it starts burning you. Yeah, you just got to get through there really quick.
Cool story, actually, real quick. That's the game that I was playing when I listened to your guys' like first 3 episodes when I first found this podcast.
And now you're a part of it.
Little nostalgia there for you.
The circle is complete.
Yeah.
Now that game still goes for a pretty good price, like to find it out there, doesn't it?
It's
for
like
a game that's so popular.
Yeah, it's like 20 or 30.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking complete in box or something was like that damn price.
I recently sold mine, but that's because the battery was dead and I didn't want to deal with it. So.
I never think complete in box.
Did you send it to Grubgun?
No,
No.
sure didn't. I sold it to
Fucking cartridges, man.
I sold it to Haas, my good buddy here in town.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Awesome. Well, cool. It's definitely one I want to play. So I guess I'll go with my third choice here. Like, again, not in order, but let's see. Where do I want to jump to next? I'll mix it up a bit. And since Dustin said if he was on a stranded island, what games he would take. Well, hopefully if your island had an internet connection, I would join you and take this game, World of Warcraft. I spent so much time in that game. I had to put it on this list. I had so much fun. I mentioned it before, just doing raids and dungeons with other people. I mean, you can put countless hours into a game like this, and it's just something you could keep playing forever. Start a new character, redo it, have a totally different experience. So as far as that island feel, that is definitely the game that I would bring to just kill time with and play to the end of eternity. But I've since stopped playing that a long time ago, since Wrath of the Lich King, so not going back because it is a thing I do not want to get back into.
But yet you are with Final Fantasy 14.
We'll see, because I want to get it, and then when Johnny made his little video about it, it did started like, man, it might be too good where I will get hooked again. And I know that feeling of getting hooked on a game like WoW, and it is bad because it does start taking over things, but I think I'm at a point now where I'd be able to control it, so because I definitely want to try it, but we'll see, because I just started playing Neverwinter a few months back, and that's an MMO, and I'm pretty much done with that now anyway, so I think I can maintain and control myself. But yes, World of Warcraft is on my list.
Well, didn't you quit Neverwinter because it's like you ran out of stuff to do? You maxed out and like you couldn't really do anything anymore?
Pretty much, but they released a free expansion here recently with raids and stuff, but I just didn't care anymore. Lost the desire to even want to play it. So
yeah, I don't do drugs, so I'm not getting into that.
Well, go ahead and go with your another choice off of your list.
Okay, just keeping in the trend here. First-person shooter is, of course, being the id fanboy that I am. I'm gonna name another id game. I'm gonna talk about Quake 4. I think.
Whoa!
I've played. Yeah. Okay. Yes, I know. I've played this year alone. I've actually finished all 4 Quake games. I played Quake 1 on PC. I played Quake 2 on Xbox 360. Played Quake 3 Revolution, which is not a perfect port of Quake 3 Arena. It's actually like a mishmash of Quake 3 Arena and Quake 3 Team Arena, I think is what it was on the PC. But Quake 4, I think I really wish that I had gotten into this game when it was new, and I really wish that this game had caught on, because the multiplayer plays a lot like an updated Quake 3. Just really, virtually the same. Same with the Doom 3 multiplayer. I guess I should mention that too. I really wish that more people were playing that too, because they're really fun. And I just really liked the Quake 4 because it actually had a more solid story than the previous Quake games, and it was just a really good first-person shooter. It's very similar to Doom 3, so if you like Doom 3, you'll probably like Quake 4. It's just because they're almost exactly the same, like in the way they look and the way they play, like the weapons and stuff like that. Obviously, Quake 4 is less of like the survival horror thing that Doom 3 kind of tried to do, less like that and more like your typical Quake game. But yeah, it's just a really awesome game. I had tons of fun with it, and it's on my list.
Sweet.
I'm not assuming that either one of you have even played Quake 4, so I won't ask.
I tried it, and it was so glitchy that I just did not.
What'd you play it on? 360?
360, yeah.
See, I didn't have a problem with that.
This was at launch, though, when I had launch. So there's probably patches and stuff now making it better, but I just couldn't play it.
I think the last Quake game I played was Quake 2 on the N64.
Yeah, see, I have the N64 version, and it's not bad. As much as I hate the N64 controller,
yeah.
I mean, it's tolerable. I can get used to it. And I've heard that the PlayStation port really kind of sucks, because I have that one too. And I hear of the two, the N64 and the PlayStation, I hear that the N64 is actually the preferred one. I don't have it on PC, but if you bought Quake 4 Complete, it comes with a free copy of Quake 2 on Xbox 360. So that's the way I played Quake 2.
Sweet.
It's awesome
I'm-
too. So
I was surprised the Wolfenstein game didn't have like Wolfenstein 3D on it, or maybe it does. I don't know.
I don't
That was on
think
360.
so. Obviously, mine's. I don't. I doubt mine's complete. I don't think mine has a manual. But there was several other Wolfenstein games too. There was one on the Xbox. It's called Tides of War, I think. And then there was one, Return to Castle Wolfenstein: Tides of War. And then there was another one for like Operation Rescue, I think is what it's called, for PlayStation 2. And then this new one coming out looks amazing. Just throwing that out there.
All right, Dustin, what do you got for another choice?
Dragon Quest 3.
Knew it.
Well, yeah, obviously. It's another one of those. Easy picks.
Now, is that one of its when it was referred to as Dragon Warrior?
That's back
in the
when,
day?
back when it was referred to as Dragon Warrior. But
Is that the more expensive one to find?
One of them.
Oh,
3 and 4.
one of them?
3 and
Okay.
4 are the hardest ones to find. The thing of it is, like, 3 of the of the Nintendo ones, 3 is the best one, because you have 1 that initiates the series, 2 refines it, 3 perfects it, and then 4 makes it so big that it, like, the whole thing with the chapters in the 4th game, it it kind of removes the hero aspect of it. Like, your hero doesn't come in until chapter 5, and by then it's like, whatever. So, like, having the same party throughout, I don't know, it just really made something awesome about it, and it's huge, and the twist with the Dark World at the end is, for a Dragon Warrior game that doesn't have a lot of storyline, the storyline was actually pretty cool.
Now, are those games like on the NES? So, well, at least the first 3. Are those like 25-hour games to finish, or are they massive game that takes the beat?
No, about that. I think Dragon Warrior
Okay.
1, I think, is about maybe 10 or, I don't know, Chance, you just played it not too long ago.
Yeah, it's actually on my list too, so I'll just go ahead and get that one out of the way. The first one, I absolutely loved it. I would say on the NES, the first one's probably close to 15 hours, but if you play the Game Boy Color port, which is, I guess, the Super Famicom remake, a port of that, it's probably less. It's probably about 10.
There's a ton of grinding in that first game.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the between the two versions, they took out like so much grinding. Like, you gain levels so much faster, and you get money faster. So in turn, you get stronger weapons and stronger armor. So therefore, you can grind faster. So yeah, the Game Boy Color port is my actual preferred port of it, because I played both of them. But I love it, and both of them are reasonably short. I'd say the second one's a little bit longer though.
Now, did you chance with the first one? Since I know you played it, I believe it was last year or so. Did you do it like old school way, no help, or did you resort to a guide in some of the spots?
There's only a couple of places where you would need a guide in the first one, because most of the game is pretty self-explanatory, pretty linear, as they say. There's a couple of hidden things that I just looked it up. It was like, piss on that. I'm not going to spend that time looking for it. I just looked it up. There's a couple of items that are kind of hidden, and you kind of have to figure out where they are. But I actually have the Nintendo Power strategy guide for it too. But
That's awesome.
that strategy guide, it doesn't provide as much help as you'd think. It's just kind of a cool collector's item, really. I mean, I'm glad that I bought it, because I think I spent all of like $10 on it. But it's just cool because it's a Nintendo Power strategy guide, and those are kind of cool.
Did you ever beat 2 yet?
No, I haven't, and I tell you what, I really want to. It's just, I'm at a point right now where it's like, I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to be going or what I'm supposed to be doing. So it's like, it's just making myself put it back in and play it is kind of hard to do. But I'll probably finish it on the Game Boy Color.
That's the problem with 2, is that it's kind of unfocused.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 3 party members now, and that's the difference between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
The big change is, like, the first game is just you through the entire game. and you fight one enemy at a time. And I actually thought that was kind of cool because I had played so many other RPGs where that wasn't the case. Even if you were by yourself, you're facing 2-3 people at a time. Whereas the second one, you get 3 party members eventually, and each person has their high points, of what they can do, their abilities.
And you're always outnumbered.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it brings up a point, though, I was going to make about the second one. When you get to the Cave of Roan, you will need a map.
Okay.
It's
I might try to get it. I think there's a strategy guide that they released when the Game Boy Color port came out. Yeah. It's like for that version. So I might try to look for that.
Yeah. Awesome. Speaking of like Dragon Quest and Dragon Warrior, I don't know for the rest of you guys, I know you probably are friends with Johnny Millennium on Facebook, but seeing Kim like beat all these Dragon Quest games has been pretty awesome. Like watching her play through all these games in the series. Just wanted to put that out there. That's awesome that she's playing through all these things and such a fan of it. They must be great games if she wants to play through all of them just like that. So that's cool.
Well, I think it takes a love of the series because some people, even RPG fans, can pick it up and be like, "Oh God, this is too old school for me."
Yeah. All right, well, I'll go ahead with another entry on my list. And, since Dustin's been mentioning some older stuff here, I'm going to mention my favorite Mario game of all time, and it is Super Mario World. Very nostalgic to me. It's on my list because it's a game I can play through every year, and I just love everything with it, trying to see how fast I can go through it or just having a good time with it. Super Mario World is my first console of my own that I got to own and keep. Was a Super Nintendo packed with Super Mario World, and that was the only game I had for a long time because being a kid, not having money, couldn't get my own stuff, you dealt with what you had, and I just played that game over and over, loved everything about it, the cape, Bowser in his stupid balloon at the end of the game and bursting his bubble at the end. I just love everything about that game. The perfect Mario game in my opinion, especially my favorite 2D Mario game, Super Mario World. I know a lot of people like 3, but it'll always be Super Mario World for me. So that is another choice in my top 10. Chance, I know you have a Mario.
No, actually, I don't. Nope.
After
I don't.
Mario Mayhem Month, Mario didn't make it.
He's Mario'd out.
I think that's maybe it. Maybe on a different day, maybe in 6 months you ask me again, I might put a Mario on it. Dragon Warrior was my next pick, and I already talked about that. But really a toss-up for me between 3 and World because I played them back to back, and I see so many similarities in them. And 3 was so good, and 4 was just, World, not necessarily 4.
It was called 4 in Japan.
Was the obvious step forward. The game itself was just as good, plus all the graphical things that they were, and whatever the sound things that they were able to do with the Super Nintendo. I mean, so it was an obvious, better quality game for those reasons. But I would say, as far as gameplay and fun, and I don't know. I think they're about even for me.
I think what I like too is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I know there's ways to beat 3 in like 5 minutes or something, right? I don't think you can do that with World, and I think I kind of like that about it. You kind of have to play for a little bit.
I like that you could save. I like that you could save.
Yeah.
Yes, and save.
Yeah. But I played the All Stars versions of both games. Well, of 3, so I was able to save on it too. So I mean. Well, and if we want to get technical, I use save states on both of them, so so I was able to save wherever I wanted to.
What a cheater!
I know, right? But yeah, I didn't use any warps on 3 on purpose, just because I wanted to. Since I was already in Mario Mania, I wanted to experience both games in their entirety, so I didn't.
Nice. Well, I know you said you're Dragon Warrior 2, but you can go ahead, just pick it up with your 5th one there.
Okay. Halo Combat Evolved, the very first Halo game. It was a game changer, no pun intended. As far as games released for consoles in general. It made Microsoft relevant in the console the current day console wars. Obviously, it put them
Made
on
me
the
want
map.
one.
Yeah, it definitely made me want one, and I got one, and that's the first game that I bought. And I actually bought, by the time that I actually got an original Xbox, it's Halo 2 was already out also, so I was able to buy both of them back to back. And I didn't play the campaign all the way through when I first got it because I was a senior in high school and I didn't spend that much time playing video games at the time. And then when I moved out, I moved in with some friends, and all they ever did was play multiplayer. So, countless hours of just playing with two Xboxes just hooked together with an Ethernet cable. We'd have like 8 people in this house just playing Halo constantly. Both games. We would switch back and forth because both games had their merits, with the first game and the super overpowered pistol and shotgun to the dual wielding in the second game. Both games had their merits, and the variety of maps was great. So we played Halo constantly, and I will of course give nods to Halo 2, Halo Reach, and Halo 3, and Halo 4 for that matter, because I haven't finished the campaign on 4 yet, but of course I've played multiplayer on all of them, and it is by far one of my very favorite series of games. I just love the lore of Halo. Everything about it, is awesome. And the first game just still is probably my favorite.
Well, speaking of Halo, should I get it out the way?
Go ahead.
I didn't pick one, but I picked a. This was actually tough because, like you, Chance, I really love the series. And Halo 4, it's the better game, hands down, gameplay than all of them, in my opinion. It's such a great game. It's like the perfect Halo game to me. And it should be the one that's on my list. But just for nostalgic reasons, I had to pick Halo 2 because that's actually where I got my start. And it was in Halo 2. Not much for the story is why it's on here, but it's for the multiplayer aspect.
Yeah.
I spent so much time in multiplayer in that game. I'm talking, I worked a night shift job at the time while in high school, nonetheless. I would get off at sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning, come home, still play till 4 o'clock, and go to school the next day. So that's how wrapped into
That's
that game I
dedication.
was. It is. So I was just hooked into multiplayer on Halo 2. I loved it, being able to voice chat with friends. It was just, I loved everything about it. Halo 1 definitely probably has way better storyline than Halo 2. But, and then, like I said, Halo 4 is probably it's my favorite Halo game now. Halo 4 is the best one to me. But just for nostalgic reasons, Halo 2 is on my list. I know, Dustin, you're a couple games behind now, unless you have a Halo game too.
Well, speaking of Halo,
No way, it's not on there.
Halo ODST.
Oh, it made it! Wow, a Halo
Yeah.
game.
I really need to play that one.
Yeah,
I have it. It's high on the backlog.
It is. It's great. I agree with Dustin. It's fantastic.
Running around playing as a Master Chief is great, but it just feels like every other shooter out there. And then Halo ODST came out, and you're playing as just a normal human being and just sneaking around that dark city. And when you get to a group of enemies, you really have to think, fight or flight. And a lot of times you're just sitting there, like, looking over your loadout, like, okay, I have this many grenades, I have this many bullets, there's, 3 brutes down there, I gotta sneak around,
But yeah, Chance, it takes a lot of bullets to kill, like, a brute and stuff in this game, man. It is tough.
Like, they all have shields, and
yeah.
it's so rewarding. And then you get to the old story segments, and they play more like traditional Halo.
Yeah.
Where you got the vehicles and all that stuff. But those segments where you're the nameless soldier running around that town trying to find everybody, it's just so awesome.
I think that's what I liked about... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just say, just the voice. I know all the Halos have pretty good like voice actors in their game, like names, but man, ODST had like a grade A list in my opinion too.
It had Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica. It had a bunch of the
Fillion was in there.
A bunch of the Firefly people.
Yep.
I think
you
Trisha
remind me
Heffler.
how great that game is. Yeah, Trisha Heffler's in it. Yep. Go ahead, Chance.
I just say I think that's what I liked so much about Halo Reach was that the story of it was just fantastic, and you play as somebody totally just not really involved in it. I mean, you're a Spartan, sure, but you don't have a name, and nobody knows who you are. You're just thrown into this group of other Spartans and sent on this regular mission. I think that's what I liked about it so much, was that you weren't really some hero. You weren't some godlike figure like Master Chief is. So.
And what's crazy, if you ask most people, like in Halo, they hate ODST.
Yeah.
Like it's the black sheep of the series. But
That's because you're not Master Chief.
man,
See,
yeah,
that's-
pretty much.
That's one of the games I wanted to say for my underrated games, because everyone seems to just piss on ODST. And I think it's going to be one of those things as time goes past and people kind of go back to the campaign and play it. Because I think that's what it was, is that there was no new multiplayer with it. It was, you got the disc for Halo 3 multiplayer.
Halo 3, yeah.
And
when I bought it the first time, that's exactly the reason I bought it, was because I thought it was had a new multiplayer on it. So I bought it for like $20, brand new, and I was pissed that it was just Halo 3, and I sold it.
Yeah. But I think if people go back and play that campaign, and especially the music, that's something that people don't talk about that game, is the music. It has a very noir jazz soundtrack to it. Whereas, the other Halo games are very bombastic with their orchestral scores. This is very subdued and very noirish.
Yep. So good. Kudos on that choice, Dustin. Laggy Gamer approved. But I'm sitting here looking at the case now, like, man, I want to go back and play it.
I know, I
picked
kinda
it
need
off
to
the
get to
shelf,
it.
Like, it's so good.
I'll definitely throw it in once I finish Halo 4.
And that machine gun that they start out with, I love that machine gun. I don't know why. It's so weak, but I love it.
Was that the silencer one that you
the
started
one with the
with?
silencer, yeah. And that's another thing about it. It was the first Halo game with a silencer.
Yep.
And you will always pick a gun with a silencer on it.
So good. Anyway, since that was your fourth and we did 5, why don't you just go ahead with another one, Dustin, and catch up with the group.
We're going to stick with the modern generation here. And I'm going to go ahead and throw the card down. Xenoblade Chronicles.
Chance didn't play it yet, so it's not there yet.
No.
Did it
I'm sure
make
it will be.
mine? It made my list, of course.
Yeah.
It is on my list.
It is,
So-
without a doubt, the best RPG put out this generation.
Hands down.
I can't say, other generations as well, but this generation, nothing even really comes close to it.
Yeah.
Just the breadth of the world, and just, I did 117 hours, and I didn't even do everything in the game. So, and that's on one Wii optical disc.
It's amazing how big it was, the soundtrack, the scope of the story.
And what it makes me think is, okay, they could do that with a Wii optical disc. What are they going to do on the Wii U with X?
That's why it was my most hyped, most excited game so far. I can't wait to see what they can do with I hope a lot of the graphical uplifts don't take away a lot from what they could do with the game.
Hey,
you see what they do with the Wii.
If it's 2 or 3 discs, I don't care.
Oh yeah,
I'm
I could
used to
care
that.
less either. Yeah. So I can't wait for that. Like you said, Xenoblade Chronicles, just the environments, the world, just how big everything seems to be on this Wii, like $50 console you can get now. The game costs more than the console. So it's just insane of how fantastic a game it is to me. It's my favorite RPG of all time. I'm not afraid to say that, just because I haven't played a lot of them, so I'm not afraid to say it's my favorite.
And even
Go ahead.
I was going to say, even with not being an HD, it still looks gorgeous.
Look beautiful to me. Just even like you were saying, not HD. I'd love to see if there was an HD remake of the game. I'd play it again. Hands down, I wouldn't care.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
And it would sell like crazy because everyone wants it now.
If they were smart, they'd be like HD upgrade
On the Wii U.
Digital only. Well, that'd take up all your memory on the Wii U, I guess. It was digital. But man, Chance, you got to get on that one when you can, man. It is just such a great game.
I'm torn though, because you guys both told me that I would probably like Last Story more. So
Yeah.
I'm torn as to which one I want to play first.
Well, go ahead and play Last Story first because it's only like 20 hours.
It's a shorter game, yeah, because Xenoblade will take a while.
I'm
A long
fan
while.
I'm a fan of short games. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm there with you, brother. It was a task with Xenoblade. I actually did put it down for like 2 months after I was about 30 hours in. But after I picked it back up again, I did not put it back down. There was like a week straight I had a vacation where I just hammered at that game. And I was actually impressed Dustin beat it as quickly as he did, even though it wasn't really quick. But, I mean, he knocked it out, and that's a lot of time to beat that game. So, awesome choice. All right, I'll go ahead with the next one then. Where do I want to say next? I'll go ahead and get another one out the way here that people will probably expect. And we were debating, like talking earlier, do we pick games out the same series and stuff? And I was like, I'm putting these two on my list no matter what. But you know what? If I had to, I'd probably switch this one out for Sonic Adventure just to switch it up. But I put Resident Evil 4 on my list just because it was almost the perfect Resident Evil game in the sense that it still kept the clunky controls with where you had to stop and shoot. It wasn't quite so much action as there is now. There wasn't 50 enemies coming at me or anything. You had that one room in the cabin where you're defending it, but that was such a tense moment that it was just craziness anyway. It wasn't really too much. It was a lot of action, but it's just insane, that whole scene. I don't want to spoil anything if you hadn't played Resident Evil 4, but I loved everything about that game. It kept still the nice settings and characters and story. Brought Leon back from Resident Evil 2. I love that aspect of it. The only thing is I do look down upon it slightly because it started the way of how the series is now. And I don't like how the series is now. But Resident Evil 4... Go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, I would say 5 took it more in that direction.
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame 4, because 4 is... Yeah. It still feels like old Resident Evil just presented.
It did. It felt like old Resident Evil. That's why I still had to put it on the list, but... And that game won so many awards the year it came out. I think it came out the same year as Halo 2, but I'm not quite sure. And I remember wanting to see what people's top 10 at the end of the year that was, like on X-Play and everything. If Halo 2 was going to win or Resident Evil 4. And Resident Evil 4 won, Halo 2 was second. So it's pretty crazy that two of my favorite games were like some of the best games released the same year. But
it really shows how untapped the GameCube was.
Oh yeah,
because
just
that
visually
thing could pump out visuals like that.
And the remake, I was going to put the remake on here too, but I figured I shouldn't go out of hand with Resident Evil.
Yeah,
but
I remember playing Resident Evil 4, and a friend just came over, and he just sat there for like 2 hours and watched me play. And I was
I didn't mention that's how I played it.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy. He had the guide in his hand in case I needed it. And I was actually with a group of guys. They'd come over to my house, and like 3 people were watching me play it. And sometimes I'd give the controller away, but they felt too scared to play it, even though there's other people in the room. There's something about holding the controller that puts that much more attention on you. But
I told him, I was like, we can go do something else. I go back to the typewriter and we can go do something else. He's like, no, keep playing. And that's a testament of a good game. He's just like, no, keep playing. Watch.
People just like watching you play. It's so great. Have you played that one yet, Chance, or dabbled in it at all?
No, I'd actually had a version on PC for a little bit, but I had no desire to play it on the PC, so I didn't keep it. I ended up getting rid of it. I'm curious to know, is the Wii version less clunky than the GameCube version?
I would say the aiming would be better in that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
So if I was to try this, I would probably lean more towards playing it on the Wii.
I'd say, and I still don't know. I have it downloaded, but I haven't played it yet. The Resident Evil 4 HD remake, I believe, lets you move and shoot. So, but I'm not too sure the HD remake.
Yeah, but you know what? There's a risk reward in having to plant your feet and shoot. It's kind of like the flashlight in Doom 3.
I like the aspect of stopping and shooting just because, like Dustin said, the risk reward. Do you take the chance to stop and pull off that extra shot, or do you turn around and run? That's something I liked about it.
But it's something that you've always done too with Resident Evil.
Right.
Yeah.
And I haven't. Like I'm ignorant of Resident Evil. So that's what I'm saying. So doing it a little bit differently wouldn't be so
since you're
crazy.
Newer, then yes, it might not be as hard to adjust if that's what they did in the HD remake. But again, I'm not sure if they did that or not. The Wii, like the Wii version, you're pointing the Wii remote at the screen and picking your shots, but you're still stopping to shoot. But you just have more precision on the shot. I guess it's easier. My copy's still sealed for the Wii, so I haven't played it yet.
Well, I saw your video, your Evil Acquisitions video, so that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So yep, that's my next one. So if Chance, take it away.
I'm actually out of first-person shooters finally. Let's go with another obvious choice for me: Wizards and Warriors for the NES. It's a action platformer that I can play on repeat. I can just sit there and play it, beat it in about 45 minutes, and just start right over again. For some reason, I really latched onto this game. I think it's a combination of it being fun for me and nostalgia, just because I can remember watching my dad play it a lot. It's of course the NES that I own was actually his. He had it. He played Super Mario Brothers and Zelda all the time, but this was also one that he played quite often, and I just love it. But I don't care for the sequel as much, Iron Sword. I've never beaten that game. It's quite a bit harder, and yeah, I just love that game.
Sweet.
I'm not assuming either one of you picked that one either.
No.
Negative. Sorry. All right, Dustin, go for it, man.
Let me see here. Okay, this is going to be kind of a surprising one, but when I think about it and just what an experience this game is, I would want it with me to play, and that is Deadly Premonition.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
Not on my list because I haven't completed it yet, but it's on the must-finish list.
Yeah. It's one of those games, and like from a gameplay standpoint, you play it, you'll be like, oh, this is kind of crappy. But just the overall experience of the game, nothing I've ever played before even comes close. It's just so out there. And Chance, you would love it because it's basically just a huge homage to Twin Peaks.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, tell me something though. What's the difference between the game and then the director's cut, the one that was just released?
The director's cut has a few new story segments in it,
Okay.
and they updated the graphics.
The controls and
they updated the controls because the controls are very tank-like,
Okay.
and the 360 version they're more normal 3D, and the PS3 version.
It's stop and shoot on the 360, and I think they changed it for PS3 as well, where you can move and shoot, but not sure.
Right, but you also don't have to turn and then run. You could just
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably the version that I'll seek out. Then.
Yeah, and the graphics are updated to 1080p, and they did do some texture stuff, but it's not really noticeable. The only bad thing is it actually has a worse frame rate issue than the first version did.
Weird.
So yeah, kind of weird, but there you go.
And speaking of Twin Peaks, I'm up to a couple episodes in with David Duchovny, and wow, that was a surprise.
Yeah.
Don't know if Chances. I know you're in season 2, Chance, but
not that far yet. I just started. I think we're ready for the second episode, second season.
So let me ask you this, Steven. You do feel like the quality's kind of tapered off a little bit, right?
It has. It's starting to go all over the place right now. I'm like, they're gonna, because I know it ends after 2 seasons, and it seems like they're trying to start up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That I guess just does not get finished.
Has anyone mentioned anything about a lodge yet?
Yeah. The White Lodge, or I think
the Black
it's
and White
called.
Lodges. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you're starting to get back to the interesting stuff then.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back into it. So
And
seeing him show up was interesting enough.
Yeah. And the owls are not what they seem.
I was gonna say, when did X-Files start? Because that's like an old show. It had to.
I was
be
gonna
around
say
the
that
same
must have been
time,
pretty
right?
early for David Duchovny.
Yeah,
He really wasn't in much stuff early on.
Twin Peaks was done by 91, I think.
Yeah.
So I think X-Files was 93 or 94.
I need to watch the X-Files.
All 7 seasons.
I need to watch everything.
Or
I'm so
however many.
behind.
Was it 9 seasons?
Yep. They're on Netflix. So.
All on Netflix.
I got the movie. That's all I have.
Well, when you see Duchovny, he sticks out like a sore thumb.
I used to
even though
watch him in
guess-
that Californication. I used to watch that show, so
I can't wait
I'm
for you.
familiar with him.
I can't wait for you guys to get done with the TV show and then watch Firewalk with me.
I guess we'll have to plan that and wait for Chance then, so we can.
Well, it
Well,
probably
we
won't
would.
be long because here's the bonus thing about that. My wife is obsessed with the show also. So
Good.
they'll get watched a lot faster than, say, Doctor Who, Star Trek, because she doesn't want to watch those things, but she is really into Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
So
Like Dustin was saying, there's a point in season 2 where it's kind of like, well, it dies down a little bit, but like
yeah.
you said, and it picks
And knowing
back up.
that, it's kind of depressing. It's like I don't want to get there almost, because it's like, what the fuck? I want it to be
and then
as
like
good as the first season was.
it gets depressing for a little bit, and then it's like they start talking about the lodges, and things start getting interesting. Ramps up, ends.
And
That sucks. Dude,
I'd
seriously,
say that
I love
slump
this
chance.
show.
It's only for about 5 or 6. It's like 5
Okay.
episodes that it kind of slumps.
It's a fantastic show. It really is, and I don't love all of the acting in it. Like, so, there's some really bad actors and actresses, but
some of that is
intentional.
intentional.
That said, all the characters are fantastic.
Yeah.
I think that they're very well cast, even if the acting is not that well, or not that good. Yeah, it's great. And I got to know no, never mind. I won't say it because that might be a spoiler. So for our listeners, I won't ask.
We can wait
that.
till after.
I won't ask that on record.
All right. Well, I'll get ahead and go into my next game, and I'm actually I got 2 games listed here that I want to pick from, and would it be horrible to leave a Zelda game off the list? Would it be sacrilege to leave it off? I don't know.
I did.
I think I'm going
The answer's
to
no,
too.
then.
I think I'm going to too. It's so tough.
Somebody will bitch and complain, but
Yeah, but well, the
Well,
game I'm gonna say. Well, I got only 3 more left, and people will be like, "How dare you put these 3 on there? They're not a Zelda game." Oh man.
Call of Duty.
No, it's nothing like that.
Blops 2.
I actually put. Wow.
Oh, you already said that one.
I can't. I'm gonna say Ocarina of Time. I have to put Zelda in.
All right. I wanted to know what you were going to say in place of it.
Prince of Persia: Warrior Within.
Whoa.
Really?
Yes. I love that game, so that's going to the honorable mentions now. I love those 3 Prince of Persia games. Well, I didn't play the first one that were re-released last generation, and Warrior Within was just a blast to me. But that's an honorable mention now, so I'm not talking about it. So, Ocarina of Time makes my list over Prince of Persia: Warrior Within. Yeah, what can you say that hasn't been said? I actually think. Again, I think I really love Skyward Sword. I know people didn't like stuff with that, but I thought it was a great Zelda game. And if you asked me if I was going to play through Skyward Sword or Ocarina again, I'd play through Skyward Sword again. But Ocarina of Time, again, that nostalgic feeling this was one of the first games I rented on my 64 when I got it. And it was a rental that I kept. So I wound up owning it because I liked it that much and I did not want to give it back. So I remember it taking me forever to beat it. But I enjoyed just wandering around, just doing whatever I wanted in Hyrule Field or whatever. And pretty much you could walk into any area, even after you beat it, to do stuff. So I didn't really care. I just wandered the place and not care where I had to go. But awesome Zelda game. Had to put it on the list.
I always thought the character models in those N64 ones are really creepy.
Like they were.
Yeah.
Like the fairy. I remember the fairy just being kind of freaky looking too.
And that reminds me of talking about not honorable mentions, unsung games or underappreciated games. Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess. And it just seems like that's also a game that people are just kind of indifferent to.
Just because it doesn't have that darker tone.
Yeah.
That's one I haven't played yet, actually, because I want the GameCube version and not the Wii version.
Yeah, because the Wii version just wagging the remote real fast to attack is kind of sucky. Especially after you played Skyward Sword. But it's just it is kind of a refreshing tone for Zelda, because they're so like bright and cheerful, and this one is dark.
It's dark. And I don't mind dark, so it'd be cool to play it.
Big contrast between Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
Yeah. I think that had to do a lot with the backlash of Wind Waker, though.
Then going back to something like Skyward Sword, so more bright and colorful. But yeah, that's it. So go ahead, Chance.
I
Your
guess I'll just
seventh
go ahead and throw
choice.
out my Zelda game here. I picked
Yeah.
Link's Awakening for the Game Boy.
Nice.
I actually haven't played too many Zelda games. I've played the first two, and then I skipped Link to the Past because I didn't have a Super Nintendo. But I did have a Game Boy, and it came with Link's Awakening, so that's the one I played. And I've said this before. It's pretty much the way it controls and the way it kind of feels is pretty much Link to the Past on a Game Boy. I mean, obviously it's a different story, and you're confined to the machine itself. It's a smaller world and stuff like that. But the gameplay itself is very similar, and it's just awesome. I love the story, and yeah, it's the first Zelda game I beat ever. So I've got tons and tons of nostalgia with it. But it actually was tough for me to decide whether I like this one or the first one better. I've never played anything past that either. I don't own very many of them. I have on the GameCube. I got the collector's edition that has the first two, and then Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. But I haven't started either of those yet. That was actually the reason that I bought a GameCube, was because that game was out, and it wasn't even like a retail release. I ended up buying it used for like $40. So, but it's what I wanted, and it was at the store that had that I bought the GameCube at. They had them both, and the game cost as much as the system. So I spent $80 and got a GameCube and that game. And then I was pissed when I got home and realized I needed a memory card because I didn't have one of those.
Yep.
Oh well. But yeah, I also have Link to the Past on the Game Boy Advance now, but not then. And then I also have Twilight Princess on the Wii, but that's all I have.
Cool. All right, Dustin, take it away. You're next.
Well, speaking of Zelda, instead of Zelda, I picked another famous action RPG series, and
East?
I picked Ys Book 1 and 2, specifically on the TurboGrafx, because it has my favorite version of the music of all the Ys games.
I wanted to put Oath and Felghana on my list, but unfortunately it's an honorable mention. But
Okay, here's the thing with Ys. And I've said this multiple times on multiple videos, but it's one of those series that's always kind of haunted me because it was always like in an import watch or something like that, and then it never came out, or it'd be on like the TurboGrafx, which I didn't have. So when I got my Wii Virtual Console and saw that was on there, I finally downloaded the TurboGrafx version, and I just fell in love with it. And I actually really enjoy the run and bump gameplay. There's just something about it that it's just so old school gaming that they didn't even think to hit A to do the sword swipes. It just harkens back to a much simpler era of gaming, and the music is just phenomenal.
I think it's awesome that a lot of your games are like older games.
Well,
That's going to show like they still live up, and you'd still play them to this day.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to put elevator action on here, for God's sake. But
So that's awesome. But can't go wrong with East. I'm glad, Chance, you're getting a chance to get into it now.
Oh
and,
yeah.
I
I'm
know
not going
me
to
and
chance
Dustin,
it either.
oh,
I'm going to finish it.
Nice. I know me and Dustin are stoked about Celceta coming out. I can't wait. That's one of my most looking forward to games this year. So I'm stoked about it.
I have an Ys question. Is the Arc of Nephishtim, or however you say that, is that 6?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I could get 1 and 2 and 3 on the PSP, right?
Right.
Okay. And then 4 is Celceta.
Right.
Where's 5?
5, you can only get 5 on the Super Famicom.
Okay, so there's no English 5.
I would bet you anything that they're going to do a remake of 5.
Yeah,
Well, I hope
it's
so.
coming.
Because it was not. Here's the thing about 5: like it has like a really great setting and a kind of a cool story, but the gameplay, because they sourced it out to a different company, gameplay just sucks. So I wouldn't be surprised if Falcom says we're taking it back, and they.
Yeah.
Okay, is Nephishtim only on the PS2?
for all intents and purposes, yes.
Okay.
Because the PSP version has such terrible load times that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I really want to get the rest of the Ys games. I might go ahead and get like you said 1 and 2 on the Virtual Console because I like to play that. So are the 1 and 2 on the PSP the same, or is it like a remake?
It's a remake. It's
Okay.
updated graphics, and there might be more story segments. I'm sure.
Okay.
Still same gameplay style,
Yeah.
but not
Okay.
but just updated.
Yeah, and I really want to get Origins also on Steam, so I'll get that too eventually.
And it comes
But I gotta
and the
beat
PSP
7.
version comes with a handy guide and the manual for that stupid tower at the end where you'll get lost in the first one.
Yeah.
So
I'm loving 7, so if the rest of the series is as good as 7, obviously I know that, being the last installment, last installment, that is here in America, it's
Personally-
got different graphics and stuff than the early ones, but
personally, it's only going to get better in my opinion for you.
really,
From
okay,
7,
okay.
in my
so
opinion.
you're saying
I don't know if
7's the
Dustin-
worst one?
If you want to call it, it's not a bad game, but
Well,
I
I
think-
know, I didn't
Yeah.
mean it that way. But
Yeah, but in my opinion, it is my. If I was going to put an order, it'd probably be at the end.
well, good to
Oath
know
of
because I really
Belgana
like it.
Being
So
my favorite. Dustin would probably agree. Did you beat 7 yet,
Yeah.
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Would you probably agree that that's probably the
well, I'd say 5.
one?
I would say 5's the worst, but
Well,
out of
5,
one-
yeah.
But let me think. I don't know. If he's going to get the PSP version of Ys 1 and 2, I would probably put 7 above the PSP version, and I'd probably put 7 above Nepishtim as well.
okay.
Oh yeah, it'd be above Nepishtim too. Sorry, I'm
I think-
forgetting about
I
all
think
those.
out of the ones that Chance is going to get, Nepishtim is good. It's just not as good as like Belgana or as Celceta is going to be, or as 7.
Yeah.
It's a good game, but it's not a great.
Well, I really like 7, so
What 7 did that Celceta is going to do is having the multiple characters, and a lot of people didn't like having the multiple characters switching back and forth. So
I do.
But if you're-
I think
if you're-
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, well, all the
If
other
you're-
games you
yeah.
just play as Adol.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure that I like it just as well. But I like being able to switch between the characters that have like the air attacks,
Yeah,
for
I didn't
airborne
mind it.
enemies and like the tougher, like the hard shell enemies. How do you pronounce the other guy's name?
Dogi.
Doggy. Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I can remember. It can't possibly be Doggy. It can't. It sounds too ridiculous to say Doggy. But yeah, like I said, I'm pretty far into it. I'm in the wind, whatever, the holy precincts of the wind or whatever. I think she's blind. Is it Mishira? Is that how you say
Yeah.
it?
Something
Yeah,
like
that's who I'm using right now. Her and then Adol and Dogi.
nice.
So.
All right, well, I got 2 more here for mine, and I don't think anyone would guess what these games are. I might have mentioned one before, but I know I didn't mention the other. And I'll save probably the one that people won't ever believe for last. But
Prince of Persia.
Onimusha. Onimusha is one of my favorite games of all time. PS2. I love it. I beat it. It's one of the games I've beaten more than it's on par with Resident Evil 2 of how many times I beat it. And it's probably why I like the game so much. It keeps a similar. It's made by Capcom, and it keeps a similar style as the old like Resident Evil style games, tank controls. And I really enjoyed that with Onimusha. It's Resident Evil with a sword. You're still killing zombies and all these creatures pretty much, and I love it. Absorbing souls, upgrading the weapons. And I mean, I have that game down packed where I beat it in, I think one time I beat it under 3 hours. It's such a fun game that I've beaten it 7 or 8 times, and I would play it again because it never gets old to me. So Onimusha, I would love to see an HD remake with the first 3 games. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. When all these other it's like Capcom never really wants to put these things out for us. So I
They don't
really
wanna
wish
make
they would
money.
do that. Maybe it won't make money, but I mean, they made 4 games in the series, so it must have been profitable somehow.
No, I'm just saying Capcom doesn't want to make money because they don't
I
put
know.
out the games that people want.
Maybe I'm the only one who wants it. That's why. Maybe I'm the only one.
No,
who likes
I love Onimusha as well. I think it was a great series.
I have
So
2 of
it's-
them, but I haven't played them yet.
It got a little weird when it got to 3, but
It was 3. It kind of got
play as
weird.
Gene
But,
Reno.
I have Warlords and Dawn of Dreams. Those are the only ones I have.
Nice. Well, Warlords is where it's at, so just play that one and enjoy it because
Is that the
it's
first
such a
one?
yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
But I loved it and I highly recommend it if you haven't played it, especially if you're into Resident Evil. You got to try out Onimusha, and I hope I'm saying the name right. But man, I'd love to see a new entry in that series too for PS4. Bring it on, bring it back, Capcom. But anyways, there you go. Next, whoever wants to go.
I have 3 left, so we must have got
I have,
off there.
yeah, I have 3 left as well.
I think
Steven
I had
must have-
I had the same as Dustin with Xenoblade, and it put me
Oh, okay.
behind. So
I've got 3 left. Final Fantasy X, of course, is my favorite Final Fantasy game, and it is probably and close to the top 2 or 3 games of all time for me. I really, really like that game. It's the first game that I owned for the PlayStation 2. Right when I got my PlayStation 2, I got it, Tony Hawk 4, and Enter the Matrix. And Tony Hawk 4, don't get me wrong, I used to love those games, playing them, but it was just a mindless run around, skateboarding, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X was the first game that I played, besides the Zelda stuff when I was a little bit younger, that made me really take video games very seriously. And of course, I used to stay home, quote, sick from school so I could play this game, and I probably put 45 to 50 hours into it the first time that I beat it. And I used a strategy guide when I was playing it just because I wanted to find all the items that you needed for the celestial weapons and stuff like that. I wanted to become this super overpowering being in the game so I could just destroy, decimate everything. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it. Even with its flaws, it's a beautiful game, and it is definitely my favorite Final Fantasy.
I have been itching to play that game for like 2 years now, but since they have the HD coming out, I've been holding off, and I just want that to hurry up. Do we even have a release date yet for that game? I still don't even think they have one, and I want to play it again so bad because, like you were saying, Chance, it was actually the first RPG I had for my PlayStation 2, and I was not an RPG player, and I was loving the game so much until, again, people have heard I got stuck at that boss. But man, I'm so looking forward to getting back into it because I really was enjoying that game from when I was playing it.
I'll definitely play it again when the remake comes out because I want to play it again right now just because it's been a few years since I played it, and it's just one of those games. I loved it so much that even though it's 40-hour game, I still want to play it again. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
We can go ahead with your other one too, since
Okay, since I have 2 left.
yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw this one out there, even though I just finished the game not too long ago. I really loved Vi, however you say it. Even though I played it on the iOS, which is, I hear Dustin tells me, quite a bit different than the actual Sega CD version, but I still loved it. Thought the story was good, and I loved the animations of the enemies and your characters. Very colorful. The cutscenes, even though they weren't great, were still kind of cool to see that in such an early game, early RPG. And music. I didn't talk about the music in my video at all, and I realized it after the fact. That music is fantastic. I love that score. It is very driving, almost rock music, but it is just so good. And those songs are just stuck in my head. It's great.
Sweet. What? I haven't watched your video on it yet. Is it just an RPG? What is it?
Yeah, turn-based RPG. It's on the Sega CD originally, and it's I played it on iOS, so the controls, are less than awesome. But if you get used to them, it's fine because obviously you're not using a controller; it's the touch screen. But it's pretty. At least the iOS version is pretty linear. There's no way to get lost. There's only one path you can take, and the battles. I didn't have to grind much. It was pretty much. I didn't spend any time that I can remember, any time except for en route to where I was going, fighting battles. There might have been a couple of times where I didn't. There was like a boss battle that I died, and I would go back out and like grind up one level, and then go back and fight him and win. So yeah, there's armor upgrades and stuff like that. So it's got all the traditional RPG elements, spells, and your characters gain level, and the higher level they are, the more spells they know, and obviously the more effective the spells are. And you find lots of healing items, and also there's a lot of like damage items too, like missiles and things like that that you find that are useful for like enemies that are more weak to magic than to a physical attack. So it's kind of cool. And you get a maximum like of 4 party members, and it's like an over-the-shoulder view, kind of like Phantasy Star 2 or Dragon Warrior in a way, like because you're looking head on to the enemy, but you can see your character sprites on the bottom of it. So it's just a really, really fun game. It's like $2 on iOS, and I think a complete copy on Sega CD is like $50, $45, $50, something
It's
like that.
It's $1 right now.
$1?
Yeah, I was just looking it up.
On iOS? Well, there
Yep.
you go. Now's the time, but you don't have an iOS device, Steven, so you're screwed on that front.
I got 2 of them in this house. What are you talking about?
Oh, I thought you had Android.
Oh yeah, phone, but I have an iPod Touch.
Oh, well, there you go. Go get it. $1.
Hey, what's been this iOS kick you've been on here?
I don't know, dude. Like I think it's just because I finally realized that it's like super convenient. Like, because I have my phone with me all the time. So especially for the type of games that I'm playing, it's a little bit easier. Whereas like I have Mega Man 2 and Mega Man X on there also. And I've played them off and on, a little bit, but they're just a little bit harder for me to get used to, like the platforming with the touch screen, because it's my phone and I have fat fingers. I can imagine playing it on an iPad or something being a little bit easier for me, but I don't have an iPad, so I haven't done that. But like Phoenix Wright, it's a text-based, text choice-based, graphic novel, whatever you want to call it. And same with Ghost Trick. Ghost Trick. Is that it? Yeah, Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. I have the demo version of that on there too, and I'm probably going to hold out for the DS version on that, because I could see some of that being a little bit more useful to have a stylus as opposed to my sausage finger. But yeah, I got there's another game I haven't even tried yet. It's Layton Brothers Mystery Room, some sort of spin-off of Professor Layton. So I haven't tried that yet either. But yeah, iOS, extremely convenient to use.
I was gonna say, if I was in Dustin's shoes with his nice iPad, it's the shooters is what I'd want to play, and I can't play those on a touch. It seems like impossible on a touch. So.
No.
Yeah.
I play Dodonpachi Blissful Death on my phone, and I just go into the fucking zone, man. Like that is the way that those shmups should be played with touch controls.
Yeah,
so you can play it on your phone. It's actually playable on a small screen like that?
Oh yeah, infinitely playable.
Hey.
I have another shmup game called I think it's called like Lightning Fighter or something like that. It's pretty much like a Raiden clone, and it's touchscreen, of course, and I love it. It's an amazing shmup. So I can imagine the cave games being pretty awesome on there, because a lot of them are on there too. I downloaded the demo or the light version of Death Smiles just to see, what the big difference was between playing it on a console and playing it on iOS, and it was actually pretty awesome. That might be something I buy, even though I already own it on the 360.
Now that we sidetracked with that, sorry everybody, with iOS games. Dustin, go ahead with your next 2, man.
With the next 2?
Yeah, because you got 3 left too, right?
Right.
Yeah, just do 2 of them if you want.
Okay, the next one is Silent Hill 2.
Oh yeah, I forgot you hadn't said that yet.
Yeah.
Yep. Silent Hill 2.
Because just out of all the Silent Hills there, and even graphically, like I was thinking about it while I was playing Homecoming. Homecoming looks really good in certain places and really crappy in other places. And I just think back to how it looked on the PS2. even on just a normal cathode ray TV, and it still looks gorgeous. And that story, hands down, the best and most emotional storyline in the Silent Hill franchise. So, gotta have that there.
In the same vein, since getting off topic again, since we just watched the Silent Hill Revelation movie review, real quick. Silent Hill Revelation. What did Dustin think? A big fan of Silent Hill series.
Absolutely rubbish. Like, it took everything that the first movie did and did pretty well and just shit all over it.
Well, that sucks because I haven't seen it yet. And
Yeah.
I really was looking forward to it because I haven't played any Silent Hill games, but I actually really loved the first movie.
Yeah, the first movie was great. And, me, Dustin, and Danny were like sitting there watching it together on Facebook and talking about it. And yeah, it's nothing compared to the first. So I don't know. I was kind of lost in it at times. Like, what is going on? Could have been because we're all sitting there talking at the same time, not really focusing. But it just seemed like just not as good as the first at all. So really disappointed. But anyways, yeah, I still want to try Silent Hill 2. Definitely just need to get a copy of it, and I will be playing it since Dustin raves about it. So I definitely will give it a try.
Is there an HD like a 2?
Yeah, but it's
pack?
it's glitchy.
Oh, okay, well, F that then.
Yeah, and they've said they're not going to patch it, so you're stuck with it. All right, so what's another one you got then, Dustin?
Well, gotta put a shooter on here, and the shmup that I picked is Ikaruga.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, have you actually beaten it?
No, and that's why it's on there because I would sit there
You'd
all day,
sit on that island and beat it.
just sit there and play Ikaruga until I got it down. But like seriously, there hasn't been a shmup ever that I actually feel like the more I play it, the better I get. You know what I mean? Like,
You're right. You're right.
you know, it really, you really feel a sense of accomplishment once you get that system down. And
You do.
yeah, so I mean, with like doing it on Patchy, it's fun to dodge the bullets and stuff. But for me, it's I don't know. And I've talked about this before, and a bunch of shmup people have smacked me in the face about it. But I mean, I just don't feel. I mean, they're fun, and I like destroying things, but I don't feel that sense of finesse that I get out of Ikaruga. So
Have you played Ikaruga, Chance?
I have not. I played Radiant Silvergun a little bit, but I haven't played Ikaruga.
I looked up video on the last boss, and I just know I won't ever be able to beat it. So that's why I don't even know if I should even try anymore, because it just looks so insane. But man, it is a fun shooter, and like you're saying, Dustin, dying but then restarting and getting just that little bit further, you do feel like you're accomplishing something each time. That does keep you going back. But since I saw the final boss, I just gave up hope because I don't want to be able to do it. It's that bad. It looked like so. But awesome choice, awesome shooter, man. All right, I guess I'll go ahead with my last one here, and it's one probably no one will expect because I never talk about the game at all. Period. And it's made by Rockstar. Came out this gen, and it is Red Dead Redemption. There's not many games this generation that I played through twice. I could probably count on my hand, just one hand, how many I've played through twice. If I think there's might have been 3. And Red Dead Redemption was one game that I did play through twice. Once on PS3, once on 360, and I just thought it was there. We had a discussion the other day about whether I was brought up a discussion about perfect games and perfect scores, and I don't know if there is the perfect game out there, but this one is really close to me for being like that because you can do it's open world. You can do almost anything you want in this game. The side missions in the game, just the hunting and trapping. It not just being a Grand Theft Auto where you're just this violent thug or whatever who can go around and do things. You're actually just John Marston, this guy with a heart who's looking out for his family and everything and doing stuff to try to save them and get back with them. And then the ending of that game was so powerful. And the story I thought was great. Gameplay was great. I just love the Wild West setting. There's not too many Western games. This is the perfect Western game for me. I loved it, and it's a game I think you'd really like, Chance, if you played it. So I'd definitely recommend it to you. But it's just, man, I just loved everything about that. I could play through it a third time. I just think it's just Rockstar's best game they've ever made. Vice City's my favorite GTA game, but this is my favorite Rockstar game that they've ever made. Red Dead Redemption 2 or if anything else in the Red Dead series, I'll definitely buy and play day one, and I just love it. So Red Dead Redemption. I know you haven't even played it, right, Dustin? Because I thought I remember it in a video. You kind of dogged it or something. I can't remember.
No, I just can't play those. When I get those open world games, I just get distracted in them, and then I just put them down.
You can, but the good thing with this is like there's always a marker like telling you this is where you got to go whenever you decide to go there. This is where you got to go. So, I just loved it. Just thinking about it, just such a great game. So, that's my final choice for my top 10.
My brother-in-law is a big fan of Red Dead Redemption, and I watched some gameplay of it. It doesn't really seem like something, like just by watching him, that I would get that into, but I'm sure it's a whole different story if I were actually to start playing it.
Yeah.
I'm actually more interested in Undead Nightmare for some reason. I think it's just because I love zombies. But
I love that add-on too.
I'm more interested in that, and he actually has the version that, like the retail version that came with both of them.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
I thought of two honorable mentions, I guess, before I get to my last one. Just real quick. One I already mentioned in my underrated ones. That was Enslaved, of course. I love that game so much. But I really want to play it again, and I think if I were to play it again and do a little bit more, like with the collectibles and things like that, that I would, it would be even higher on my list. Another one that I just finished recently, Dust and Elysian Tale. So awesome. Such a good story, and I really hope that they make a second one. But my last choice, kind of an unexpected one, I guess, because not many people like this game at all, but hey, that's usually what happens. I like games that people don't like.
What company? I want to try to guess it.
Let me look. Namco.
You beat it this year, right?
No.
Oh, no. Never mind. Go ahead. That's
Last
not the game
year.
I'm thinking of. Does it got a person in it who's in the Lord of the Ring movies?
No.
The voice? Okay, never mind. I'm not thinking of the right game. Go ahead.
What game were you thinking of?
Heavenly Sword.
Oh no, I love that one too. Actually, that
was
that's
Team
actually,
Ninja. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But Enslaved is actually better than that one. But that one's still fun.
Okay.
Splatterhouse for
yeah,
Xbox 360,
like
PS3.
Whoa, that version. Whoa,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the older ones.
No. So I've played those quite a bit too because you can unlock them on this disc. I'm talking about the Splatterhouse. The new
one
one.
you pumped hours and hours.
Oh my
into.
god!
Yeah,
I played this game for so long, and I don't know why.
Every day I turned on my Xbox using Splatterhouse after he already beat the game.
Yeah, I beat it twice, and I really had to like slap the controller out of my own hand for wanting to play it through a third time because I want so badly to 100% this game, and I haven't done that yet. And it's just really addicting to me, and I don't know why for sure. And there's a survival mode that you can play that you're just running around killing wave after wave of these little monster critter things. So it's just, I don't know what it is. So much blood and gore, so much cursing and foulness. It's just a really wholesome family game, and I love it.
Awesome, wholesome family game. Nice. All right, Dustin, what's gonna finish yours off?
Well, do we want to do the thing where I name the?
Yeah, we'll try to guess yours too.
It's a Capcom game.
Ooh, Capcom. We talking older again?
Talking NES.
Ooh, NES.
Mega Man 2.
Nah, it's not a Mega Man. I don't
He
think
just said
it
he
is.
wanted to be Mega Man.
Ooh.
What'd you
right.
say? What'd you say, Chance?
I said Mega Man 2.
Okay.
Or
What do you
3.
think? What do you think,
Maybe
Steven?
3. No,
I'm
5.
gonna take a
And 5.
whim. There's so many, but I'll
I know.
put
I know.
one
Saying
out there.
NES and Capcom is like, oh, where do I start?
DuckTales.
That's what I'll say. If it's Mega Man 2, though, I will be surprised because I never heard hear you talk about Mega Man. So go ahead. What was it?
Mega Man 3.
Oh wow! I never hear you talk about Mega Man. That's awesome. That
Yeah.
I didn't know you really liked it.
Oh man, like, and I'm sure like and I said it slow like that because I'm sure like every Mega Man fan out there's like Mega Man 2. He's going to say it. Oh shit, you know. But Mega Man 3 to me is like, I love Mega Man 2. Don't get me wrong, but Mega Man 3 was the one that really just made me fall in love with Mega Man. From that opening music, to the fact that once you beat the 8 Robot Masters, then you have to fight the Shadow Bosses, and then you go to Wily's Castle. It was just a huge, huge game. And also the fact that I knew the Wily code, so I got to, if I wanted to, hold on a second. So if I wanted to, I
train of thought. There
yeah,
you
I
go.
lost my train of thought. So if I wanted to, I could just go to the end of the Wily and beat him. And the fact that you beat the final boss with the fucking bitchest weapon in the entire game was hilarious.
Spoiler alert. There you go. Wow, that's awesome. I never knew. Man, that's all. I'm just glad to learn something new with Dustin. Never knew Mega
I
Man
just
3 was,
threw
like,
out
his
2
favorite
because it's
Mega
like the
Man.
most common one. So I was like, I heard you say that Mega Man comment earlier, so I was like, it's got to be Mega Man.
Man, that is awesome. Well, there we go. There's our top tens, and I think you learn a little bit about each of us through this. Like Chance with his first-person shooters, me with my not a lot of old school, but like PS1 and up era stuff, and Dustin just sticking with what he grew up with. He like really enjoys his old stuff, so it's pretty cool how you can get a little piece of us in the games.
Really enjoys his old stuff. When,
because he's like an old man now, so no. But it's just I wish I would have grew up more like with an NES. I'm more starting out like Super Nintendo, so it was. And then at that time, I only had a limited amount of games, so gaming really picked up with me with PS1, where I could start getting more stuff.
And it's
So.
strange to me, like I don't want to say paradigm shift, but the shift between NES and Super NES and how it was so hard for people to go backwards. Like once you had a Super Nintendo, it's like, oh, I don't want NES games; those look like crap. You know, that's just crap. They don't want to play NES stuff. But whereas, like to me, it seemed like the difference between SNES and N64, the same thing didn't happen.
I don't know. I mean,
probably because there wasn't that much to play on the N64.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
And it was that damn controller. Jeez.
I mean, I find it tough these days because there's a lot of PS2 games I want to play, and then when I put them in, and like I can kind of feel they're kind of dated now, but I'm gonna play it anyway. But I kind of guess you can get that every generation almost. So I guess everything starts to feel old after a little bit, but they're still goodies.
So yeah, I'd be 2600 games are pretty awesome.
I could go without ever touching one ever again in my whole life. So I'm sorry to the Atari people. You can keep your Ataris because I'm done with them. Those games just frustrate me. But yeah, it'd be cool to see viewers, listeners, whose list do you like the best? Leave it in the comments below. Yes.
It's going to be mine.
I know you're going to win, Chance, but I just want to see what else agrees with it. I have a feeling we have a lot of RPG lovers and old school players, so I have a feeling they'll really like Dustin's. But it'd be cool to see who everyone likes and like what their top 10 might be. I know it's tough to pick 10 games.
Well,
so
you definitely put yourself back into the running by picking Ocarina of Time and not
over Prince of Persia.
For real.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Hey, I love that game. It's just, anyways, I won't talk about Prince of Persia. But yeah, so leave comments below who you liked, what kind of yell at us for what we left out or what you can't believe we didn't put in here. And yeah, so that was cool finding out your guys' top 10. I think we probably could have picked. I think I probably could have named off 6 of your games, Chance, which was I guess
yeah, I told
cool
you that
because we know you so well.
Well, mine are so typical. Like it's seriously like if you've talked to me about video games, you're probably gonna know that I'm an id and Halo fanboy. So there's 5 of them right there. So.
And Dustin, I have to say, like you had some curveballs in there, like with the Mega Man 3 and stuff. I didn't see him coming, so that was pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm sure if I would have put Prince of Persia on the list, that would have been a big curveball for everybody. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, I guess that's a wrap, and that's our top 10. So that's the best of the best from us, the AGP guys. So anything else you guys want to add before we wrap it on up?
Are we going to put out another call for guests?
Yes, if you're still listening to us at this point in the podcast, we had a original list of guests who wanted to come and be on the show. We know there are still a few out there who wanted to be on, but we wanted to get a definitive list put back together again. So if you're still interested in being on the podcast, just go ahead and shoot us a message. I'm not sure how often Dustin checks the inbox on this channel's page, but because I hardly ever do it, so it's easier to contact us probably messaging us on our original channels.
Yeah.
Him at Dustin Christ, me at Laggy Gamer, or Chance at Doomwaves. Just send us a message. I mean, if you want to be on, we're not picky about anyone. We enjoy just doing us three, but I mean, if anyone wants to come on, you're more than welcome to come. Like I said, there are a couple people who we do have in mind who are going to be on, but still, send us your name again. If you want to be on it, we'll be more than happy to have you. Just send us a message, and we'll plan it out. Like we said, we do this about once a month, once every 3 weeks if we get lucky. And we'll sneak in there sometime, so it'd be awesome to have you. So just let us know. Keep asking questions. We'll be more than happy to answer them. And MrRPGcrazy, I hope you're happy. We dedicated a whole episode to your question, so I hope it's answered. I hope you're happy. So I guess that's about it. So it was fun, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. I guess that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. The owls are not what they seem.